Hey there, I'm Nicholas Dubois, co-founder of Advanced SimRacing. We are a Canadian company. So what we did here today is for a real petrol head. He's really passionate about cars, as you can see behind me. We did a turnkey solution for him based on his needs. We try to gather as much information as we can on our client, and like we did today, we install a D-box system, we install ultra-wide cube control steering wheel. We try to provide the best quality for your budget. So let's say if you want a budget of 10 grand, we're gonna give you something that's the best for 10 grand. If you want 20 grand, then we always try to stay within your boundaries. We do try to make it as easy as possible. So the client, once we install everything, it's pretty much gonna be a turnkey. So he's gonna press start on his computer, And right after, we'll try to explain everything, how it goes, how it works, and then he's ready to go. Our aluminum is from USA, treated in Canada, cut in Canada. So we do sand all our aluminum piece just to make sure the powder coat sticks to it. And that's one of the reasons why we use powder coat, is to make sure you have the best aluminum finish in the industry. And our quality is beyond what you can get with any other competitors right now. We are really, really passionate about all the gear, all the cockpits, all the sim hardware. And that's why we want to create something that's really gonna reflect our passion into our product. Come visit us at advancedsimracing.com. You can always reach us if you have any questions. You can call us, you can text us, you can go on Facebook, like our page, ask us questions over there, and we'll make sure to answer every questions there is. We are very passionate about what we do, and we try to make it as easier for you to go into the sim racing world, because there's a lot of gear, there's a lot of options, but let us guide you through your process, and let's hope you'll be an Advanced Sim Racing customer.
So far this season, the PRL GT Series has been owned by two drivers. Robbie Campbell has won all three races in the GT4 Amateur Series, and Nicholas Rubilar has swept the GT3 Pro Series. They're both hoping to extend their streaks tonight, but for the rest of the grid, enough is enough. We'll find out which side comes out on top tonight as we get ready to watch round 4 of the PRL GT Series from Chicago and Snetterton. And you'll see it all live here on the Global Sim Racing channel. Hi, I'm Joey Tebben, and with me in the booth is DJ Clark. Behind the scenes is our director Joe Peak, and he's using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. First up tonight is the GT4 Amateur Series, taking on one of the newest tracks on iRacing, the Chicago Street Circuit. Let's head to our track guide to see what the Illinois is all about.
Welcome to the Chicago Street Circuit. NASCAR and iRacing teamed up to create a virtual street course made from real-world scan data of the Midwest's most famous city avenues. Sat right in the middle of skyscrapers, monuments, museums, and Lake Michigan, it's perhaps one of the most picturesque tracks on the service. It clocks in at a little over 2 miles in length, which is about 3.5 kilometers, and includes 12 turns dispersed around it. The shape of the track might look simple, but tackling it is anything but. The turn from Lakeshore onto Roosevelt will be a fast and narrow single-file affair that tightens up on the exit. And the arc around Congress Plaza Drive forces drivers to feather the throttle while hugging the inside wall as tightly as they can. Expect most passes to be attempted on the turn into Balbo at either the first corner or turn 6. However, both have zero runoff, which means outbraking yourself will likely end your day prematurely. In general, the bumpy nature of the circuit and the closeness of the punishing walls means that survival is probably going to be the name of the game for most drivers. In the world of sim racing, we have unique opportunities to make our dreams into reality. And iRacing and NASCAR have done just that.
And that was your GSRC track guide for the Chicago Street Circuit. It's a fantasy track right now. It might not be a fantasy track in the near future with NASCAR, some other series potentially taking this on. But DJ, tell us what this newly scanned track is all about.
Well, truth be told, it is all about bumps. This is a street circuit. These are public roads, and so there's a lot of variation in the tarmac that you're going to see. Now, like most standard street circuits, overtaking's going to be at a premium here, but you do have some long enough straightaways and some tight enough corners that are wide enough, which is not necessarily a hallmark of most street circuits, that we could definitely see some interesting things starting to happen. Track does get very, very narrow narrow, though, down through turns 4 and 5, and drivers have to be very careful not to try to go double file through there. There's also the very interesting 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 sequence that's sort of reminiscent a little bit of Sochi's turn 3. But I think we can see some good overtaking, specifically going down into turn 6. We may see a little bit of a setup move or two going into turn 2 as well as the track gets wide enough. But in these big, heavy GT4s where you've really got to think through everything and you don't have a whole lot of room for error, you've got to make sure that you plan everything out well in advance.
And some people who have helped us to plan this race out well in advance are our sponsors. We've got quite a few of them tonight, but our broadcast is brought to you by ASR. Owned and operated by passionate sim racers, Advanced Sim Racing designs and builds the sturdiest and most durable aluminum profile simulation cockpits available in the market today. Visit them at advancedsimracing.com.
It's also sponsored by RaceLab. RaceLab helps you to improve your driving skills. With modern overlays, race statistics, and native VR integration, you can get the best out of iRacing. Start using it now for free at racelab.app.
Today's broadcast is also proudly sponsored by ButtKicker. ButtKicker products add an incredible immersion and realism to any game. Feel every nuance and truly put yourself in the driver's seat. Check them out at thebuttkicker.com.
Today's event is also brought to you by SimMSA. Simulation Motorsports Affinity provides many consulting services, from completely customizing simulators to managing teams, individual drivers, and complete events. They're working hard to bring everyone together at one place to support and promote sim racing internationally. Find out how you can bridge the gap between virtual and real motorsports at SIMMSA.net.
And finally, the PRL GT series is also brought to you by NinjaTrader. Ready to compete against the financial markets? Supporting over 60,000 users around the globe, NinjaTrader provides award-winning trading software and brokerage services. NinjaTrader is always free to use for advanced charting, backtesting, and trade simulation. Visit ninjatrader.com to get started with a risk-free trading simulator and start tracking your performance. And let's track how our drivers have been performing. First up, the Drivers' Championship. DJ, how's it gone so far?
Well, as you can see, Nicholas Rubilar is holding a very small lead there over that's the wrong one. Hold on just a second as I pull up my own. It's actually Robbie Campbell that's able to pull out a pretty sizable lead right now of 23 points over Kevin Berquist and Michael Michaud. Now, they are both tied for second, 23 points back. Behind them, Kyle Robertson is in fourth place, only 7 points off of that duo in second, with David Calhoun 3 points off of Robertson, and Pavlano a decent ways back, 51 points off the lead. There you can see that. Joey, how about the team's championship?
Well, you can see a lot of independent drivers in the drivers' standings right there, but as we switch over to the team standing, you'll see that it's the GT Moore team up in first place, followed by the PRL Director team, Piltdowns Punks, Team Kodak Rhino, and Parabola Racing. That is a heck of a sequence of team names if I've ever seen one. And on to the race details here today. I think we've got 3 GT4 cars up for grabs today, DJ, and what else is going to go on?
Well, those 3 GT4 cars, we're going to be driving the McLaren, the Porsche, and the BMW, although we should note that only David Calhoun is out in the BMW right now. It is a 40-minute timed race out here with a Indianapolis-style rolling start. Drivers currently out on track for a 10-minute open qualifying session. It is an open setup, so a lot of those teams are going to be able to tweak and tune to get what they want. And now this is the one that has come back to bite a lot of people in recent races. We do have some pretty low levels for incidents here. You get a drive through at 13x and you get disqualified at 17 incidents. However, on a street circuit like this, you don't really have to worry about a whole lot of runoff. So I think if you get one of those incidents, you're going to be in the wall pretty quickly. But that's if you sit on the naughty step. If you sit on the good step, there are some bonus points available. You get a bonus point for fastest lap, you get a bonus point for pole, and you get a bonus point for 4 incidents or less.
And as we rejoin our drivers on track right now, about under 7 minutes left in qualifying right now. See a sequence of 2 McLarens on track right now. This is Richard Swindells. He's currently 3rd on track, 8 tenths off pole at the moment, but there's plenty of time for him to improve.
Indeed, and with track temperature only at about 74 degrees right now, it's about 8:30 in the morning virtual standard time. Expect for those times to come down over the course of this session. There's not a lot of wind out there, so it's going to keep it relatively low, and just like a good Midwestern summer, about 53% humidity in the air, so not quite as soupy as my hometown of Indianapolis can be around this time of year, but definitely some humidity making things interesting.
Be a very sticky track, as here we see Charles Sumner in the ever-popular Tropicana orange livery. It's not on a NASCAR Cup car, it's on a Porsche GT4 car. Here he comes, navigating through turn 10. He's got one more corner to go through, or that was turn 11 rather, through turn 12, one of the only corners with some runoff on the outside. He's going to round the last corner, and will he cross the line and go to pole? No. He will stay in 5th place.
It's a good one for him. Behind him, Richard Swindells, who we were following a little bit earlier, able to bump his way up to 2nd, and Merchaud able to get up there as well. But Swindells immediately pipped to position by David Calhoun. He is right there as well. So this time's starting to tumble a little bit. Not a whole lot of separation between the top 3.
Here's Alex Dobmeyer in the Piltdowns Punks entry. That was not a great first lap for him. I think he may have had a little bit of trouble in traffic, or a little bit of an off. This will be his first real lap, and we'll see where he stacks up compared to the rest of the field.
Going to cut over here to Glenn Vanko, see what he's able to do. As I'm looking at the charts there, Kevin Berquist able to move his way up. Kyle Robertson able to move his way up to 1st. Vanko currently down in 14th right now. Is he going to be able to improve on that 133? Yes, he is. That's a 133 or 132.2. That bumps him into 10th place.
Here is Richard Swindells again. We saw him set one lap that put him into 3rd. Here he comes. Oh, I think he might have tapped the wall there. Is that going to be a 0x? Oh, that's going to be a 2x for loss of control, and Swindells, this lap is not going to count for him, unfortunately.
No, it's not, but here comes Merchaud right now, coming around that final corner. Let's see what the current pole sitter can do. Is he able to improve on his time? Looks like that's going to be a bit slow one there for the 497, so not the best, but looks like next up we've got Newhook, and I think Newhook's coming into the pits, but Bertoom's coming around now too.
Here's Dobmeyer once again trying to set his first real lap of this session, getting very close to the outside wall as he navigates through the last corner. He's going to cross the line. It's going to be a good lap time, but a 131.191 is not going to be good enough for pole. He is going to stay in 6th place. It's better than where he was. He's finally got a lap down. And Robbie Campbell up to 4th place, demotes Dobmeyer down to 7th now.
That's a good one for him. Here comes Burmeister, the only driver to not set a time thus far. Kevin Berquist is able to move his way up to 9th place right now, coming over this big crest of a hill before he gets down into that final corner. It's one of the hallmarks of this track. There he goes as we continue to follow Jason. Let's see if he can put in a quick time. This doesn't look like it's going to be super fast. Indeed, a 1:35.8, so he's on the board, but the slowest time out there yet.
He's still got 2 minutes, though. He's got 2 more laps to improve, and we'll see what he can do on this second lap. Right now, our pole sitter is Michael Merchaud with a 1:30.2. The fastest lap we saw in practice was Robbie Campbell with a 1:29.48. So there's definitely pace on the board for Robbie. We know he's very quick. He won the first 3 races in succession, but right now it looks like the rest of the field is certainly taking the fight to him.
They certainly have. Oh, as Merchaud has a little bit of a problem there. That may very well end his run. I don't know if he's going to be able to get out and get a hot lap done in time. I will say, though, one of the things with Campbell is that he is the king of just waiting for opportunities to come to him. So even though he's down in 4th right now, may not be the end of the world. Currently following, though, Kevin Berquist as he makes his way around some of those final corners. Coming here, is he going to be able to do a good time? Coming through that last corner, let's see what the driver of the 64's got.
Got very close to the wall on exit. Someone else behind him getting all sorts of loose, but Berquist keeps it rolling in a straight line, does not improve, stays 9th. Here's David Calhoun. He's in 2nd, and unfortunately a full second slower than his fastest time.
Indeed. So that's not going to be a good one for Calhoun. He'll have another time to wire another one up there, though. As here he comes around. Here comes Jerome Bethune.
Jerome, one of the PRL directors, he's on his home turf here. This is not looking like it's going to be a competitive lap here. This is just going to be a warm-up, and he's going to have one more shot to improve his position. Right now, he's down in 6th, only 7/10 off pole. Definitely a lot of ground for improvement there. Here's Richard Swindells. He's been stuck in 3rd for the whole session. He wants to try and improve. Navigates the last corner, gets heavy on the throttle to cross the line. It's going to be close. Can he improve? No, he's 2/10 slower than his fastest effort.
And he's going to have only one more lap to do it. Let's see if our provisional pole sitter here is going to be able to get a good lap in and be able to get done and dusted. Only 20 seconds to go on the clock. Yeah, this is an outlap him for him, so it's basically a race to the line to see if he's going to be able to get out and get one more in.
He should get there with 5 or 6 seconds to go. Yep, there he goes. With 7 seconds on the clock, Michael Michaud will get one more shot, but he's got to make this perfect. He can't get any kind of instant points. He can't make any mistakes. This is going to count as time is up. Flying laps for the rest of the grid will count. Here comes David Calhoun, his final chance to improve. Nope, 4/10 down on his fastest effort. Here comes Glenn Vanko. He's down in 8th. He will not improve either. 5/10 down.
Here comes Burmeister. Let's see what he's got in the bank here. A little bit slow off that final corner. He's going to call it. He's going to be satisfied with 18th.
And honestly, I might be satisfied with 18th too. Starting at the back here, you might be able to stay out of the carnage that can come from a first lap in a tight street circuit like this. But here is Jerome. This is his final chance. He's looking quick, and he improves by 3/10. Where will that put him? It'll put him up to 4th place. Right ahead of Dobmeyer.
Going to be very happy with that. Let's see if Michaud's able to capitalize on his time. Really, right now, it is only him, and that is the 6th place Robbie Campbell behind him out setting laps. Ooh, big chunk of that inside curbing there for both McLarens as they work their way around. Coming through those last couple of corners. Let's see what they've got.
Michael Michaud, he's on pole. He doesn't really need to improve, but he definitely wants to. Yeah, he hit the wall. I don't think this lap is going to count. There was probably a 0x there, and he isn't going to improve either way. Neither is Robbie Campbell. I think that was an out lap for him, so that wouldn't count. He's going to be down in 6th, but we know he has a lot of race pace, so we cannot count him out. But it will be Michael Michaud on pole, and David Calhoun is going to join him on the front row.
Yes, they are. And what is interesting, as we said at the top of the broadcast, Calhoun, the only driver out there in one of those BMWs, and he is surrounded by a fleet of McLarens. The top 5 has 3 McLarens in 1st, 3rd, and 4th. That one Beamer in 2nd. And then Alex Dobmeyer in the Porsche in 5th.
And as we wait for the qualifying clock to die down, no drivers are on track, but we just have to wait for the session to come to an end. We can absorb some of the scenery of Chicago, the Willis Tower in the background. I will call it the Willis Tower. Some Chicagoans insist that you must still call it the Sears Tower, but I will call it by its official name. That's the nameplate on the Lego architecture set that I have. But either way, here's the grid. It's finally up. Your pole sitter will be Michael Michaud. He'll be alongside David Calhoun in that BMW. Then it's Richard Swindells and a good lap from Jerome Berthiaume in 4th place. Then Alex Dobmeyer and Robbie Campbell trying to go 4 for 4 in 6th, followed by Kyle Robertson and Glenn Vanko rounding out row 4. And the top 10 will be rounded out by Spencer Semkowicz and Kevin Berquist.
In 11th, it's going to be Charles Sumner, followed by Jordan Walker. Peter Newhook is going to be 13th, followed by Barron Hilton and Jason Iverson to round out your top 15. Marco Oliveira will be 16th, followed by Scott Grinnell and Jason Burmeister bringing up the back of the field.
An 18-car field is the smallest we've seen so far this season, but it will be packed full of action, I'm sure. 18 cars and a track that's only a little over 2 miles. Close quarters, close corners, and not a lot of runoff. I think we're going to see quite a bit of action once we go green in just a couple minutes.
Oh, for sure. And I really do believe that these opening couple of laps are going to be very, very chaotic. Now, we've seen a lot of these guys, like I've said, Robbie Campbell, Swindell, some of these guys like to hold back, wait out a little bit, see if the race comes to them. But the close confines of this street circuit may force their hand a little bit. Some of these guys at the front are going to want to stay up front as much as possible in order to make sure that they do not run afoul of any potential track blockages.
Yeah, some drivers definitely going to be aggressive, try and make up positions when it is difficult to pass, but others, they know it's a long race. They might be holding back. They might put a Lori light foot on the gas pedal and maybe hold back for some better opportunities.
That could be very well what they are doing. I really think the biggest problem is going to be really going through that first corner and then going down into 4 and 5. It's a little reminiscent of the run onto the backstretch of Bahrain in the way that the corner is set. You kind of have to be tilting onto the brakes a little bit, applying everything just right, and you can't get full lock on the brakes, otherwise those front tires are going to lock on you all kinds of quick.
It's going to be interesting to see the difference between these two cars on the front row. We know the McLaren, it's the newest one, so it's taken a little bit of effort to get a handle on it. There's not as much info about setups out there. The BMW, we know we've had that for a while, and the Porsche, I believe, was the first one released. It was either that or the BMW. But either way, it looks like they've all compressed down. The BOP's been working well. And there's a good assortment of cars up here at the front.
Yeah, indeed. Like to see a few more Beamers out in the field, and we have seen them in other races, but obviously it will have to play out, and these cars do suit a little bit to driver styles.
But only a few more corners to go. The pace lap speed's not the fastest around here. It is a street circuit. But the drivers navigate through the tight confines of this complex here. Even on the pace lap, it's pretty hard to keep the car out of the wall. As you can see, everybody just trying to go single file here, not risk anything on the pace lap.
Yeah, nobody really wanting to be too crazy at this point. But now as they make their way through that 8, 9, 10 section that we talked about, Joey, they're going to start to form up here a little bit. You see Michaud trying to get a little bit of an advance. Calhoun playing it off a little bit. I think we'll get single file once we get onto the main straight.
But here we go through the final short straight. We'll navigate through turn number 12. Michaud is a little bit further ahead of the second row than I think Calhoun wanted to be, but he will pack the field up before the green flag. And there we go. A terrible start by Michaud. He was waiting for the rest of the field to catch up, and that gave Calhoun a massive jump. And going around the outside in second place, I think that's Swindell's, who's made a big jump.
That was Calhoun hard into the wall in the exit of turn 1. Big smack on the right side of the car. I think there's definitely some suspension damage there. It looks like he's having hard time controlling it. Michaud and Dobemeyer now able to pass, and it looks like Swindell's is trying to think about a move too.
Yes, that is Alex Dobemeyer into the lead, 5th to 1st. Really capitalized from that just bizarre start. I think Michaud was trying to pack the field back up, and by the time that happened, the field was there and the green flag was flying, and the outside line took advantage. But unfortunately, David Calhoun just a little bit too aggressive on the brakes, or a little bit too not aggressive on the brakes, and just ended up packing that thing into the side of the wall. Luckily, he seems to have recovered. The car's still rolling, and it doesn't look to be too terribly damaged, but I think Michaud's going to be a little bit unhappy with the way that went.
Yeah, and the green flag had flown there at that point, so that will not be a jump start penalty for David Calhoun to the best of my knowledge. But look at this fight starting to shape up front. As we said, Dobemeyer with a mega start there, up 4 positions from 5th. He is right up front, but Michaud right behind him. Let's see if he's able to get a little bit of a pull here, maybe get a move down into turn 1.
This is going to have to be a master class of defensive driving from Alex Dobemeyer. There's about a 7/10 delta between these two in qualifying, but it is difficult to pass, and Dobemeyer's going to have to put together all he's learned about defensive driving to keep Michaud behind. And behind them, if they keep out, I think Swindell's just had a little bit of an incident with the wall. I saw him bounce off back there in third. He did get by Calhoun. We'll see what happens with that shortly. Through this not quite 90-degree corner, then into a 90-degree corner, and then onto one of the longest straights on the track, down into turn 6. This would be a good spot to make a pass for Michaud, I think, but he's just not going to be close enough.
And Swindell's has had a big problem coming out of turn 5. Looks like he just overspun the tires, I think, a little bit. Yeah, a little bit of over rotation, and he's hard into the wall. Some mega damage on the front right of that McLaren.
Unfortunate for Swindell's. We're going to check out a replay here. Let's see what happened to him from third place in the race. And yeah, like you said, just got a little bit loose and bang, straight into the wall.
And that can happen with this variable changing tarmac. It really doesn't look too good. There you see those Swindell's trying to limp that car along. Looks like it's crabbing ever so slightly, so there may be a little bit of suspension damage now to that 16 machine.
And no fast repairs in this series, so he's going to have to come in and get that damage fixed the old-fashioned way, as we say, and sometimes that isn't the most consistent way to fix damage, so he's going to be having a little bit of trouble for the rest of this race, I think, as another driver who we know has damage, Calhoun, he's letting Jerome through for fourth place, and here comes Robertson around the outside, not going to be able to make that move stick.
No, he's not, but there comes the 15 doing a little bit of an over-under move there on David Calhoun. Looks like he may be able to make it stick as they dive down through that curve there, and yes, he's going to be fully ahead.
Can see the side. Oh my, that's a massive accident back there. That is Glenn Vanko into the runoff area. I don't even think he hit the wall because that runoff area is there, but that was huge.
Absolutely mega. Let's watch this. I'm not even sure what happened here. All right, so he's lining up, getting on this straightaway, lining up to get ready to get onto the binders here. Comes to the inside. It's that sweeping section. Oh, he got a little bit of help there.
Got punted into the inside wall, and I think he backed out onto the track instead of taking that Joker lap area on the outside. He's kept it rolling, though, but he's down in 18th, and he's 23 seconds behind the next closest car.
Yeah, it's going to put a big damper on his spirits for the day. Checking back in on that battle up front, though, it looks like Dobmeier's been able to hold this out pretty well. He's got a second gap there or thereabouts over Michaud, and he's holding that pretty consistently.
Walker's run into a little bit of an issue further back in the 22. The train of cars coming to pass that Porsche through turn 1. He's going to get passed by Iverson here. Baron Hilton's right behind as well, looking to capitalize in the McLaren. And after that, there's Oliveira as well. But let's see what happened to Jordan Walker.
Well, it was the same story on a different corner there, Joey. He just goosed the throttle a little bit too early, caused the car to spin around. Too much wheel spin on the exit. And you'll see here, just nowhere to go. These cars fighting a lot of oversteer out here in Chicago today.
And it seems to me like it's very, very difficult to save a slide in these cars. They're much heavier than some other race cars we'd see because they're basically road cars, aren't they?
Yeah, exactly. They are very, very heavy. There is not a lot of grip on these cars in terms of aerodynamic. They're generating most of the grip from the cars on the mechanical side.
Go back to a replay of Calhoun's start, and it was a couple laps ago, but we saw him almost jump the start. It wasn't a jump start because the green flag was in the air, but what happened in turn 1 here is what we really want to see.
Yeah, so there you see that big lead that Michaud got. You can see him on the binders, and Calhoun just recognized the green flag was out, and he just went for it. Fully entitled to do so. You are allowed to go once that green flag flies. You know, I can't really tell there. The way that that car lurched, I wonder if that was maybe a bit of a missed gearing, that he was trying to brake the car a little bit through engine rev, or if he just kind of realized that he had to get on the binders a little bit more and those front tires may have locked up slightly as he tried to make the corner.
Either way, I don't think he's going to be a very happy camper behind the wheel of that car. He took the lead instantly and then unfortunately lost it as quick as he got it, but it's a long race. There's quite a bit of time left to go, and he is only down in 6th. He might be 12.5 seconds off the leader, but there's a lot of racing to go, and there's a lot more that could happen. He's definitely not going to be the only one who ends up in the wall today, and he already hasn't been.
No, he has not, but we're going to jump back to this battle for 11th. This is Newhook, Iverson, Walker, and Hilton a little bit behind. Newhook doing a good job to hold off. Looked like Iverson carried a little bit more speed there mid-corner, may have had to check up. I think Walker's got his eyes now on that P12 position.
Yeah, Walker fighting back after that little bit of an incident. Oh, that was deep into turn 10, or turn 9 rather, as he goes over the crest. Gonna fall back from this battle. But these two up here, and you see on your screen right there, Robbie Campbell with the fastest lap. He didn't have the best qualifying in 6th, but he is up to 3rd, and he's only 3 seconds behind our leader, Dobmeyer. Robbie definitely wants to go 4 for 4, and with 30 minutes left in this race, I think he has a very real chance of doing that.
He very well might. He's got some good ground to make up, though. The gap's about 2 seconds up the road to Merchaud, and he's really got to work on it.
He's got to make sure he doesn't push too hard and end up in the wall, which is as easy as can be here with the walls right next to you. Seen from the back bumper of Newhook here, staring at that nose of Jordan Walker. Only about 2/10 between them. But Walker just not close enough to make the move into that corner there on the exit. They're going to be side by side here. Will Walker be able to make the move around the outside as we go down to turn 6? No, there's not going to be enough room onto the side.
Just going to have to hold it off for another corner. That's one of the things I talked about. This is a street circuit, a little bit difficult to overtake. You've got to very much plan out your passes, and I think Walker is falling a little bit afoul of that right now.
And I wonder if that front damage that we saw Walker get when he spun into the wall is affecting his straight line speed, because he was alongside Newhook there, and then he just completely died out. But he's right behind him now. He definitely has the cornering speed, but we'll see as we exit the final corner onto the front straight. Will he be able to make a dive through turn 12? He's thinking about it, and he puts the bumper to the back of him. That wasn't very nice, but that's one way to get through, I guess.
Well, Joey, this is a NASCAR track, and they tell me when you're racing NASCAR that rubbing is racing, and that's exactly what we just saw.
He wanted to get through, and he certainly did. But now Newhook a little bit discombobulated, get under attack from Baron Hilton, who's going to do the same thing to him. That's not going to end nearly as well. Hilton turns Newhook, and I think Newhook's going to be furious right about now.
I would be as well. Burmeister there, Oliveira able to get on through, but that's Newhook just trying to gather everything back up under him. Let's go back and check out the replay on this. As you said, that move that happened with Walker, a little bit of bumping and banging, but I think this one may have stretched outside of the realms of normal racing. Watching here, Newhook ahead, goes in, tap on the backside, and still goes for it. Newhook really nowhere to go, and that just came to bite both cars big time.
Yeah, I don't think Baron Hilton intended to go for the move there, but he was just a little bit too late in the brakes, and unfortunately they met in the middle, and it's disastrous consequences. But up to the lead, Michael Michaud. He was about a second behind Dobmeyer for the last couple laps, but whatever he's done, it has worked, and he has brought that gap down to only 2/10. And you see in your screen behind you, that's not a lapped car, that is Robbie Campbell. He's made up another full second to Michaud as well. This is going to be a 3-car battle before too long.
Yeah, it very much is. I think we had a little bit of a problem, though, with Spencer Semkowicz. Before this battle heats up, let's maybe go back and check a look at it. Not entirely sure what happened here, Joey.
Neither am I. Semkowicz was running in 11th place. He was having a solid day, and fortunately, it looks like he just lost the rear. This is over the crest, and I don't know what happened to Semkowicz here.
All right, so it looks like he had the problem. Oh,
yeah, that's what happened.
Same story, different corner. These drivers just being very aggressive on corner exit and spinning those rear tires. It keeps happening here again and again.
Need to be careful not to back out right onto the racing line there. There he goes, finally. He will rejoin the race, unfortunately, in 12th, but he only lost 1 position in that whole endeavor, so it's not the end of the world.
No, it's not, but let's check back in on that battle for the lead. Michaud really putting the pressure on to Dobmeier here, allowing for Robbie Campbell to catch back up. He is now within 0.8 of a second, and here comes the move.
He is close enough. I thought he wouldn't be. Dobmeier a little bit tentative on the brakes, allowed Michaud to take a peek to the inside, but he just didn't get a good enough run there. And then through turn 2, he's going to have to fall back. And even just running side by side for 1 corner has slowed them down enough that has equalized the gap between Dobmeier and Michaud, and between Michaud and Campbell.
And this is exactly what we've seen Robbie Campbell do the past 2 weeks, just waiting for the right opportunity here. These 2 McLarens chasing down the Porsche of Dobmeier, trying to get ahead here. Oh, it looks like Michaud thinks about wanting to have a run. Campbell just poking his nose this way and that. I think that's a little bit of an aggressive move to see if he can do anything.
They're just going to have to wait in single file here. It's going to be very difficult to make a pass through the 8, 9, 10, 11 section. Once we get down to turn 1, we know Michaud is good on the exit of turn 12. We know he's going to be good at getting a run down to turn 1, but he's just going to have to time this move, I think, and be patient.
Yeah, exactly. Ooh, close again. Let's see if he's got enough to make it here. 1 more corner that he's got to line it up before he gets one of the good overtaking opportunities.
Whoa, that was a full send through the corner. I thought he was going to be in the back of Dobmeier through the apex of the corner. He had to drop back. He had great speed on entry, not so great speed on exit. Unfortunately, that's going to minimize his chances of overtaking into turn 1. And unfortunately, we're back to single file. He's going to have to wait a whole another lap to get another chance at that.
He is, although we talked about this a couple of times, sometimes the best way to make the overtake at a tricky place like this is to do it in an unexpected area. Sometimes we've seen some guys at Detroit maybe make some moves into the final corners as a way to do it, or maybe even going around the fountain section. That may be what Michaud's trying to think of doing here. Ooh, a little bit of touch of the wall there.
And here comes Robbie Campbell to the outside. It's the battle of the 2 McLarens. Can Robbie make the move around the outside in turn 6? He's going to have to be very late in the brakes. He is very late in the brakes, and he does get it stopped. Robbie Campbell's up to 2nd, and he smells blood. He smells the leader, and he wants the lead.
He does indeed. I think Michaud's over-eagerness there very much cost him, but the battle there he had with Michaud and Campbell, that cost Campbell some time. He's now got about 1.1 seconds to try to catch up here.
Well, we saw how quick he was able to catch up to Michaud in 2nd from that 4-second gap behind. I think it'll be a matter of time before we see Robbie all over the back of Dobmeier through turn 12. Pretty even run for the 2 of them. The gap is down to about 0.8 of a second. A little bit further back, here's Marco Oliveira, one of our PRL directors on the PRL director team. He's trying to chase down Semkowicz, who has got 12th back or 11th back after that little bit of a spin at turn 11. He has got back up to 11th. Now Oliveira has to start putting his foot down and maybe try and get that 11th place back. Semkowicz is going to run into Walker here. We was racing with a little bit earlier. This is the battle for the last spot in the top 10, and in this series, every point matters and every spot matters.
Indeed it does, and Oliveira is having a little bit of problems. There are some running wide a couple of times, may have even grazed the wall ever so slightly, but it certainly looks like Semkowicz, despite that speed, he's got speed right now over Walker.
Oh, he definitely has speed over Walker now as Walker takes a huge old chomp out of the turn 1 tire wall. And you can... That may have been a lapped car, actually. I don't think that was Walker. That may have been Grinnell. Scott Grinnell or David Calhoun. You can see going down into turn 1. Scott Grinnell in the number 55 car. I don't know if he was just trying to get out of the way But either way, he's way too deep on the brakes, and he was never going to get away with that.
No, never at all was he going to be able to. But as we focus back, this is the lead. Robbie Campbell closed that gap down quite easily now. He's got it under 0.5 of a second as he tries to hunt Dopemeyer here for that top spot.
Michaud wasn't able to make the move in the McLaren, but Campbell may be able to if he's able to capitalize on the opportunity out of turn 12 and out of turn 5. Those have been the greatest overtaking spots so far, but Michaud isn't out of it either. If these two go side by side, we saw that's how Robbie was able to get into this battle in the first place, and that could be how Michaud gets back into it too.
It could indeed. If these guys get a little bit too aggressive, that could be the way that they go for it. We will have to see, though, what happens. A little bit of a look there for Campbell, trying to maybe just force an error out of Dopemeyer, almost getting into the back of him there.
Robbie is unbelievably late on the brakes through turn 6, and he was lucky not to hit the back of Dopemeyer there, but we know he has the braking advantage. So if he does get the inside or the outside, he knows he's going to be able to make the move, but he's just going to have to find an opportunity to be able to do it over the crest of turns 9 and 10, and then through turns 11 and 12 to round out the lap. We know he has the pace advantage, but will he have the strategy advantage in terms of making a move?
Well, speaking of strategy there, Joey, we've got to start taking into account pit stop strategy. Remember, these drivers do have limited fuel tanks, so they will have to come into the pits at some point during the course of the race. Now, we're about 1.5 minutes away from the halfway point, and that to me would indicate that maybe some drivers are going to be looking at doing some overcuts here, or undercuts here rather, coming in a little bit early, trying to get themselves into some clear air, because that's the biggest thing that they're going to be worrying about. They don't want to come into a gaggle of cars. They want to come out where they can come in some clean air and run free and run fast.
And you also want to minimize the amount of time you're spending in the pits by taking less fuel. From my own experience in the PRL F3 series on Thursdays, drivers basically wait until the last possible moment to pit because they don't want to spend that extra 2, 3, 4 seconds in the pits taking those extra liters or gallons.
Very, very much so. We've seen a lot of these drivers try to milk it out to the very, very end, and a lot of times these leaders will do it. And speak of the devil, and he shall appear there, Joey. We've got our first taker. That's Iverson coming into pit lane.
Iverson only down in 11th, so he is looking to make up some ground here. As here he comes out of the pits, only spent 34 seconds in the pits, so that's going to be your pit delta for today, most likely. Will probably be a little bit shorter for the drivers who pit later. As I said, they'll have to take less fuel. And I don't think we'll see anyone take tires. Iverson didn't take tires. I don't think there's any real reason to take them in a 40-minute race.
No, and especially in these GT cars, these tires are made to last for a couple of stints, so tires not really an option. Also, with track temperature only being 80 degrees, I don't see a whole lot of thermal wear on them. Ooh, that was a little bump on the wall there for our second-place driver, Robbie Campbell. That's, yeah, you can actually see iRacing's damage model working there. That left side mirror hanging off a little bit loosely.
He doesn't need that one. He only needs the front mirror. Or the right mirror, or either one. We're not on, well, we are on actual roads, but they're closed down. Nobody's going to come pull you over for a mirror violation. We thought Campbell might send it down to the inside there. He had a good run, but he thinks better of it, waits behind. He's going to have to get back in line here. As we go past the Barnes & Noble, past the Columbia, he hits the wall in front of the Barnes & Noble, unfortunately. And then he books it through turns 9 and 10. Over the hill, you see the car getting loose over the bumps. He is certainly giving this thing everything it's got, but he is not able to make the move yet.
No, I think he may be overdriving the car ever so slightly. We've seen him run wide there a couple of times, bouncing off of those walls, and that's certainly hurting him. And now we come back onto the main straight. The gap is holding at about 0.7 of a second, so Campbell definitely dropping some time over the course of that past lap.
But Michaud is still in touching distance as well. He has not lost these guys. He's only 2 seconds behind Campbell. So while these two are fighting for the lead, Michaud is watching with an eagle eye, hoping that they run into a little bit of trouble and he can maybe... Oh, that is Jason Burmeister who's run into trouble. I believe that is down... Where is that? That's at the... All these corners look exactly the same. It's not easy to tell which one it is. That is turn 5. You can see the almost Joker lap section. Oh, he just clobbers the wall on turn 4. And that will not be the end of Burmeister's race, but it's definitely going to kick him down a little bit more than he already has been.
Well, and that affected our leaders a little bit there, Joey, as they came through. It looked like Campbell almost was going to try to have a move there on Dobmeier, but it ended up slowing him down. Gap's now up to about 9/10 of a second as he had to take a little bit of a different line going into the corner.
Did not work out for Campbell, and I think with every lap, he's going to be getting a little bit more impatient and a little bit more desperate to make a move. But here comes Baron Hilton. He's the next of our pitters in the independent entry, the number 47 that he also runs in the PRL Cup Series on Sundays. He might have a little bit of damage to fix. We saw him get into New Hook earlier, but it doesn't look like he bothered to get any of that fixed. It was a pretty short stop. He's taken all the fuel he needs, and he'll be good to the end. Maybe get back into the top 10.
And I think most importantly, Michael Michaud has come into the pits. That's your third-place driver. He is the highest driver to have come in at this point. There you see him stopping in the box. That little pop of the wing mirror coming back in. He has suffered damage over the course of the race. Waiting. We were about 14-second pit stop is what we are used to seeing. Let's see if it runs a little bit longer. It is. I'm seeing 16, 17, 18 for Michaud. That's a 17.8-second stop. That is a very long stop for the 497.
I wonder if he maybe had 5 or 6 seconds of optionals that he wanted to fix when he had the chance. But whatever it was a slow stop, and he's going to come out right behind Charles Sumner. So it's going to be a little bit of a disaster. He's going to have lap traffic to slow him down, which will make Alex Dobmeier and Robbie Campbell very happy. They're not going to have to cover him up or over-cover his strategy. Robbie Campbell right on the back of Dobmeier through turns 8, 9, and 10. Dobmeier almost in the wall on the exit. Almost in the wall again, but Robbie can't find anywhere to go. There's not enough room on the outside there, and there's not going to be enough room to go to the inside through turn 12. Campbell's going to be getting even more desperate, if he wasn't desperate already. Down to turn 1, he's not going to be close enough. The gap's about 3/10. We know Robbie's good on the brakes, but he's not close enough to make a move. He's got a good exit through turn 1, but through turn 2, Dobmeier blocks him off, and Campbell still stuck in second.
Yeah, it just looks like the Dobmeier's got the better angle of him as we watch Jerome Berthum coming down into the pits. He's pitting out of 4th place, what was 3rd place, I believe, right now. Kyle Robertson inheriting that 4th place away from him. A couple other drivers, Berquist, Swindell, Sumner, all making their pit stops.
I think it'll be interesting to see Jerome exit here because Michaud lost that time in the pits. I was wondering if Jerome might be able to jump him, but no. Michaud quite far ahead from Jerome. Jerome did cut a couple seconds down. He was only in there for 13 seconds. So that gap down to about 7 seconds when it was over 10. Jerome comfortably in the top 5 at the moment, but not quite close enough to Michaud to think about making a move onto the podium just yet. Kyle Robertson's up in 3rd, but I don't believe he's made a stop yet. He will most likely fall out of the top 3 here once he stops.
Yes, indeed he will. As we watch the 217 there of Berthum working his way around. Looks like he's got some pretty clear track ahead of him, so he'll be pretty pleased about that as of
2 leaders
now.
are in.
Indeed they are.
Dobmeier and Campbell in simultaneously. Neither of them thought that an overcut strategy was necessary. They're just going to try and beat each other off pit road the old-fashioned way. Who's paying their pit crews more? Is it Dobmeier with the Porsche pit? Oh, Campbell overshoots his pit stall. That's not going to help things. He's going to lose maybe a second or 2 to Dobmeier that he's going to have to make up on track again now. They're both sitting in the pits. Dobmeyer, a little bit of a lengthy stop, 15.3 compared to Campbell, 13.3. So while Campbell did overcook his pit stall and lose a couple seconds backing up, he made up 2 of them with a faster stop.
Yeah, but still net, that comes out to about a 1.3 second advantage there, I think. Oh, no, excuse me, a 2 second advantage for Dobmeyer. So that may be just what he needs to be able to pull away. Focusing here, though, on our current leader, this is Kyle Robertson. Remember, he has not pitted yet. Now, he's got about 14 seconds up the road to Alex Dobmeyer, so he will not be able to retain the lead, but I do think it will put him in a little bit lower down.
He'll end up in 6th place, I think, with a 34-second pit delta. Calhoun had a very long stop, 83 seconds from the GT Moore pit crew. I think Calhoun had a lot of damage to get fixed after that turn 1 incident and a couple more invites into the wall from Calhoun. He is down in 16th place. He's 2 laps down, but there could be more trouble for other drivers, and that's why you always keep the car rolling. This isn't like F1 where only the top 10 get points. Every driver gets points, and every position matters. So if you just keep it rolling, you get 1 more position. That's more points on the board. And here's Kyle Robertson, our leader, not able to go to the end. We didn't really think he could. He will come down for service, and we'll probably see him rejoin between Bertiome and Swindells.
Hits the marks in his box perfectly. Again, as we've said, no tires there. Looks like right now Bertiome is rounding the last corner onto the straightaway, so just waiting for that last little bit of fuel. Looks like Robertson is on the way. This could be a little bit of a drag race here. That is Calhoun, the lap car going by. That's going to be a side-by-side. Bertiome trying to catch up, but it looks like Robertson's got the advantage.
A great stop for Robertson. Maybe those couple extra laps he ran meant less fuel, and we thought he was going to join down in 6th, and he's up there in 4th. It's a great stuff from Kyle Robertson to come back on track in 4th place. But now he's got to hold off Jerome. This is going to be a heck of a battle as we see a little bit more incidents from Spencer Semkwich. Unfortunate for him down at turn 11. Was it just the same thing we saw him do earlier? I think it may have been. No, it was through turn 10 that he lost it. Oh, that was terrifying. I think that was Glenn Vanko coming through there. Baron Hilton as well. They were a little bit further down the track. But either way, that was a terrifying moment for those 2 drivers, and unfortunately another inconvenience for Spencer Semkwich, who's still in the top 10 despite a couple incidents, which goes to show that he still has pace in those in that car. It was Iverson in the Clan AOD car who had a very scary moment coming by Semkwich. See if we can ride on board with him. Here he comes through the crest, and then as we go through here, he's going to have a big old eye full of smoke and car.
Indeed. Oi, 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 get that man a change of pants immediately. That was a terrifying moment for him.
I said he'd get an eye full of smoke and car, but there wasn't much car there. I think that was all smoke.
I think you're about right on that one, Joey. But let's check back up on our lead here as Robbie Campbell has closed this gap back down. Remember, when they came out, it was pushing 2 seconds. Campbell's got it down to about 0.43 right now.
And they did just run into lap traffic. The car of Glenn Vanko did get out of the way very nicely, did not affect the leaders, but he's not the last lap car they're going to run into. Just a little bit up the road is Baron Hilton. He's going through turn 11 right now, and Peter Newhook isn't much further ahead either. So Robbie definitely going to hope that that lapped car slows down Dobmeyer once they get there, but he might not need that to happen because he's all over the back of Dobmeyer through turn 11, through turn 12. Dobmeyer gets deep. A great run for Campbell, but again, just not able to get that exit he needs to get side by side through the front straight, but through turn 1. Can he be late enough on the brakes? Dobmeyer super late on the brakes, and he gets it stopped again. Robbie Campbell, we thought he was great in the brakes through turn 1, and maybe he is, but Dobmeyer found something else there. That was a fantastic braking zone from him.
It really was. I have to think a little bit there if that was Campbell just trying to psych him out a little bit, seeing if he could get him to outbrake himself. But obviously Alex Dobmeier a little bit too wily for that. The driver of the 99 holding this very, very well. I think as we close down here with just under 8.5 minutes to go, Campbell's got to be very aggressive if he wants to try to make this move. Dobmeier seems to have him covered at every opportunity.
Yeah, Alex Dobmeier, get him a Tag Heuer sponsorship because he is not cracking under pressure. He's been having challenges to the back of him all race, and he has not put a foot wrong. Unlike some of the other drivers in the field today, it's a tough track, and he is relishing this opportunity. Forgive the Chicago hot dog unintentional joke there, but he's going to see a lapped car close ahead. Baron Hilton again, they are closing to him through turn 10. You can barely see Hilton. You saw a little glimpse of him before we cut to this shot. There he is. He's going to go through turn 12 now. But Campbell, again, sweeps to the outside through turn 11, but there's just no room to get to the outside of Dobmeier.
Oh, and a big slide of the rear there for Campbell. That's certainly going to cost him down the main straight. I was going to say this could be a good run for him, but he is just bleeding time and speed here until they get to the braking zone. The gap expanding out to about a half a second.
Get a replay on board with Robbie Campbell. It hasn't spooked him too much. He's still within half a second, but through turn 12, Dobmeier goes through normally, and then Campbell, whee, doesn't lose it, but a little more slideways than he may have liked.
Yeah, I think a lot more slideways than he would have liked to do it, but he's been able to get the gap back down again. There you see that is Hilton getting out of the way. But again, on corner exit, it just looks like Robbie's losing time. He's able to catch up a little bit in the braking zone, but not as much as he would like when they get onto the loud pedal.
Next lapped car they're going to catch is Peter Newhook, but I don't think that'll play too much into it because these lapped cars have been being very nice. Baron Hilton got out of the way. Glenn Vanko got out of the way. So Robbie's going to have to make this move vanilla and on the track through turn 10. Getting very, very loose over the bumps this late in the race. Those fuel tanks are almost empty. Those tires are going to be a little bit unhappy. They're going to be thinner than they were at the start of the race. And we're seeing the cars get loose as Dobmeier locks up through turn 12. But again, Campbell not quite close enough to get alongside. He's going to be in the draft. Down to turn 1, the straight line speed comparison with the McLaren and the Porsche. Down the inside, but again, not close enough and not late enough on the brakes.
Oh, and there you see Baron Hilton getting very friendly with the wall behind him. You know, I got to start thinking here, Joey, that if Campbell wants to make this move, he may want to try to make a move on the outside of turn 1, be able to carry a little bit more of that momentum. That may be the way to go.
Or you may have to get the bumper out. We saw it earlier in the race. I don't think either of them are especially inclined to use the bumper here. I think they're going to want to make this pass a little bit more respectfully, and I don't think Robbie will go for that, but that would be a way to get by if he really feels the necessity, and he might be feeling that necessity because he's tried at least a dozen times, and he just isn't able to make the move, but here he is, as close as he's been through turn 7. That's not a normal overtaking spot. He's going to have the inside, get very close to those yellow barrels on the inside, but he has to slow down because there just isn't enough track on the inside for him to stay alongside there.
Yeah, there really isn't, but that's what I was talking about, trying to make those moves when he could and when Dobmeier would least expect it. So here we go into the penultimate corner again. Let's see if Campbell can keep up his streak of being able to at least close down, maybe force Dobmeier into a little bit of a mistake here going into turn 12. They're back down on the power. Oh, but Campbell hits the wall.
I don't think it'll hurt him too much. It was just a little brush. It'll be a 0x. And that mirror might be flapping off. He lost one of them already. He might have lost the other one. But he's still right behind Dobmeier. We've only seen Dobmeier make one real mistake, and that was that lockup through turn 12 a couple laps ago. Other than that, he has been unflappable. But Campbell has been closer through some odd parts of the track. We saw him go for the move through turn 7 last time. Through turns 4 and 5 here. This is where it's going to be very important for Campbell to try and get a run down to turn 6. He's not going to be close enough this time, I don't think. But as I say that, he's in the draft. Will he send one down to the inside here, or will he try and set one up for turn 7 again?
Well, let's see. Still pretty close there, but it looks like he loses again on corner exit. He's going to just try to keep the power down here, keep everything nice in order, and hope that Dobmeier makes a mistake.
Well, he's going to have to keep hoping because Dobmeier hasn't made many. Campbell's getting away with a lot of wall touches here. He's got to be careful that one of them doesn't end up being the big one that ends his day and drops him down to 3rd. But again, all over the back of Dobmeier through turn 11. Can he trick him into a mistake through turn 12? No, but he does get a better run. He gets a much better run. I think this is his best chance, but he's not going to be able to go to the outside. Dobmeier blocks to the inside, to the outside. Campbell down to the inside again. He is late on the brakes, but once more, not late enough. He gets pinched down to the inside. I think that turn 1 move isn't the way to go.
No, I said it before, I'll say it again. I think he's got to try to be aggressive and maybe send a fake out to Dobmeier to get him to dive on the outside. That's where he needs to make the move. And now with under 2.5 minutes to go, time is running out.
I thought Campbell might have been able to make it to the outside because Dobmeier didn't block that hard. He did block, but maybe Campbell's saving the aggression for the last lap for that kind of move. And there is another lapped car right ahead. That is Newhook. They're catching him pretty quickly. I'm not sure if they'll catch him before the end of the race. When we cross the line here, I think it'll be 1 lap to go. So Campbell does not have many more chances through turns 8, 9, and 10. Will Dobmeier make a mistake over the top of the hill through the bumps? No. Campbell gets a great run over the top of the hill, but he falls a little bit back. Through turn 11, pretty equal on the brakes. Campbell, a really bad exit there. That is going to, I think, eliminate any chance of him making the move into turn 1 this time. As we cross the line, this will be the white flag.
Indeed it will. That white flag flies. Not a lot of opportunity left here for Robbie Campbell to try to make a move and go for the true trifecta here in this GT4 AM series. Starts to close up a little bit on the exit of turn 1, closer into turn 2. As you said, Joey, not a lot of room here to go, but that is a lap car of Peter Newhook up ahead, so maybe that'll present an opportunity.
Campbell was so far behind through turn 12, and he made up like a full second through turns 1 and 2. He is all over the back of Dobmeier here. Oh, Newhook has lost it through turn 4 and 5. That put Dobmeier offline. It put both of them offline. Campbell not able to capitalize there. Newhook very much in the way there. That's unfortunate for them too, but I think they both got equally affected. That's one opportunity eliminated for Campbell. Through turn 6, he gets a much better exit than Dobmeier, but he's not going to be close enough to go down to the inside in turn 7. He's going to have to try and go for maybe a switchback here. Through turns 8, 9, 10. Campbell hits the wall. Oh, I think that's it.
That is all she wrote. Campbell just pushing a little bit too hard there and finding that outside retaining barrier. He's going to have to try to milk the car around here. There's some clearly damage on the car. He is struggling, and that's Michaud. Michaud may get by him.
But behind them, that's what's going on. Michaud up to second, but up front, Alex Dobmeier rounds turn 12. The quadfecta will not come for Campbell, and Alex Dobmeier breaks the streak. Down in second place, Michael Michaud gets second place on the last lap, and you can't fault Robbie Campbell for trying. He gave it everything he had, but it'll only be third place. It will not be 4 in a row for Campbell. Let's see what happened.
Yeah, this is that replay with Campbell when everything kind of started to fall to pieces here, trying to chase down Dobmeier the best he could, ran wide there, gathered it, little bit of a hit on the wall as they now dive down into turn 8 here. I think he clipped the inside there, and that's what caused him to go around. Now you can see the car starting to crab a little bit. Let's take a double look here to see if he did clip that inside there, Joey.
I think he did, because that's what put him into the outside wall. You can see him giving it everything he's got, almost hitting that outside wall. Through turn 7, everything's going well. And then as he turns into turn 8, I don't know if he hit the inside wall. He may have, because he didn't hit that outside wall that hard. He hit it hard, but I wouldn't think it was suspension crabbing hard. But either way, a lot of damage to that car, and Michaud suddenly sees him with that damage, and he's like, nope, I'll take that second place. Thank you very much. But Michaud finishing second, Alex Dobmeier in the lead. Let's take a look at our finishing results as the final drivers finish the race. Alex Dobmeier, 6 seconds ahead of second place in the end. Michael Michaud picks up that second place on the second to last corner. Robbie Campbell, not 4 for 4, unfortunately for him. And down in fourth, Kyle Robertson, a great race with some pit strategy. Jerome Bertiome down in fifth. Richard Swindell's in sixth. And Charles Sumner, a solid race in seventh place. Jordan Walker brings it home in eighth. Jason Iverson in ninth. And Marco Oliveira rounds out the top 10 as the last car on the lead lap.
And these then get into the drivers who did not finish on the lead lap. Glenn Vanko, Kevin Bergquist, and Peter Newhook 2 laps down. Calhoun 2 laps down after a promising start. Baron Hilton 3 laps down. Semkowicz suffering some damage. And Burmeister and Grinnell finishing out your field.
Looks like up in the interview box, we've got our winner, Alex Dobmeier. You certainly had to fight for it. I don't think there was a single lap that you didn't have a car all over the back of you, but I didn't see you make a single mistake. How was that inside the cockpit for you?
Oh man, I'm a pool of sweat right now. Jesus. That was some of the most close and fun racing I think I've ever had in this game.
It looked like almost every lap, the McLarens may have had a little bit of an advantage on the exit of the corner, but every time the defense worked out, did you think that Robbie may have tried to sneak one on you, or did you think his moves were pretty predictable?
I felt like every time he went for a move, I knew it was coming. Really, I didn't feel like any weird moves or anything from him. I thought it was great the whole time.
You were one of the few drivers, I think, in this race that we didn't see any wall taps, any real big mistakes. Did you practice especially hard on this track? How do you really feel about street circuits and this one in particular?
Well, going in, I've never done a street circuit. And oh my God, I love them now. I really wasn't looking forward to it, but just the difficulty of it is just, I don't know, it adds another layer to it, I feel like. And about the wall taps, there were definitely a few in there, but they weren't that big, I suppose.
Well, for you, they may have been wall taps. For some other drivers, they were more like wall chomps, but your car looked pretty clean at the end. Before we get you out of here, you have anyone you want to thank for your win tonight?
Man, I'd just like to thank my team that I've been working with. We've all been like kind of bouncing back and forth and just talking about our races, and it's just been a great experience overall. And of course, the people who run PRL, you know, this has been great so far, and I'm loving it.
Indeed it has. It's been great to watch and clearly great to drive in, as he said. But next up, we've got our third place finisher, our championship leader still after today. Robbie Campbell is with DJ.
Well, Robbie, we couldn't let you see it finish all out and take everything here, but a hard-fought race that, well, sadly ended with a little bit of heartbreak. Robbie, you got a copy on me?
You got me there?
There you go, Rob. How are you? Yeah, a well-fought race across the board, and sadly looked like it just ended with a little bit of heartbreak.
Yeah, I was pushing hard at the end there, trying to. I thought I was going to make a run on him when we came around the corner there, and there was a car against the wall, so we had to avoid him, and that kind of threw with the momentum I had, and then I was just pushing at the end and lost it. I had a lot faster cars. There's just nowhere to pass here. You can throw it in deep, but I didn't want to take anybody out, and you know you're holding back. But it's a street circuit.
Well, certainly, and that's what I was going to ask you next. Do you like running these street circuits? Do you like an area where you got a little bit more room to make a mistake?
Well, the nice thing is if you make a minor mistake, you're just rubbing against the wall and you're not going off track, sliding through the grass, and could be ending your race. But this track is so bumpy. You know, I thought Long Beach was bumpy before, but this is Long Beach times 10. So it's fun. I just wish there was a few less 90-degree corners and maybe a little more passing opportunities. But
Well, that's fair. Robbie, anybody you'd like to thank for this third place here tonight?
Well, just thank Alex for running a clean race. He made his car as wide as he possibly could. I give him credit for that. He didn't give me an inch, and it was fun racing with him. So, look forward to the rest of the season. Hopefully, we can continue on.
Well, we'll certainly be looking forward to it as well. That was your second place finisher tonight here, Robbie Campbell.
And that'll round out the interviews for the PRL GT4 Amateur Series at Chicago tonight. But don't go anywhere. DJ and I are going to hop on a light speed Concorde. We're going to get over to England. And when we come back to you, it'll be the PRL GT3 Pro drivers at Snetterton. Don't go anywhere.
Hey there, I'm Nicholas Dubois, co-founder of Advanced SimRacing. We are a Canadian company. So what we did here today is for a real petrol head. He's really passionate about cars, as you can see behind me. We did a turnkey solution for him based on his needs. We try to gather as much information as we can on our client. And like we did today, we install a D-Box system. We install ultra-wide cube control steering wheel. We try to provide the best quality for your budget. So let's say if you want a budget of 10 grand, we're gonna give you something that's the best for 10 grand. If you want 20 grand, then we always try to stay within your boundaries. We do try to make it as easy as possible. So the client, once we install everything, it's pretty much gonna be a turnkey. So he's gonna press start on his computer, and right after, we'll try to explain everything, how it goes, how it works, and then he's ready to go. Our aluminum is from USA, treated in Canada, cut in Canada. So we do sand all our aluminum piece just to make sure the powder coat sticks to it. And that's one of the reasons why we use powder coat, is to make sure you have the best aluminum finish in the industry. And our quality is beyond what you can get with any other competitors right now. We are really, really passionate about all the gear, all the cockpits, all the sim hardware, and that's why we want to create something that's really gonna reflect our passion into our product. Come visit us at advancedsimracing.com. You can always reach us if you have any questions. You can call us, you can text us, you can go on Facebook, like our page, ask us questions over there, and we'll make sure to answer every questions there is. We are very passionate about what we do, and we try to make it as easier for you to go into the sim racing world, because there's a lot of gear, there's a lot of options, but let us guide you through your process, and let's hope you'll be an Advanced Sim Racing customer.
After racing at Brands Hatch last week, the PRL GT3 Pro drivers have taken a nice 2-hour drive up the M11 and A11 to Norwich's Snetterton circuit. Fans of domestic British motorsport will be very familiar with Snetterton already, but for the rest of the world, let's head over to our track guide to learn more about it.
Welcome to Snetterton Circuit. Like many British tracks that were born shortly after World War II, this venue was made out of an old military airfield. It's a mere 30 minutes drive from Norwich and offers up 3 different layouts of varying lengths. This means the track is easily able to host international, regional, and club-level racing. Previously rather simple, the circuit's most recent update in 2011 introduced a twisty infield section. Still, it's mainly punctuated by 2 very long straights, the Senna Straight, where the pits are located, and the Bentley Straight, which acts as the backstretch. As you'd expect for a track born out of an airfield, there's little in the way of elevation change. However, the one spot in which you do find some undulation, it really stands out. The bomb hole dips cars down in the middle of a quick right-hand kink, causing them to have to keep a heads up lest they lose the car. The track is not without character though. Rich's is very swift for a first turn and includes 2 distinct apexes. There's also the combination of Brundle and Nelson, which forces drivers to turn hard while braking. Never an easy combination to manage. The long sweeping run through Coram down into Murray's can also be quite tricky. The car will want to drift out, forcing a shallow entry into the final left-hander. But failing to give yourself a good exit will leave you vulnerable to attack down the pit straight. Perhaps not as famous as some other British circuits, this place is a bit of a hidden gem in the UK motorsport scene. Fans who get to witness racing here certainly seem likely to return.
And that was our GSRC track guide for the Snetterton circuit. One of the least used tracks on iRacing, I would argue, DJ, so it'll be an interesting challenge to see these drivers take it on.
It certainly will, but let's jump over and check out some of the points that we've got here, Joey.
Yep, we'll start out with the drivers' points. No surprise up top. It's not Robbie Campbell, it is Nicholas Rubilar, who has also gone 3 for 3 in the first 3 races of the season. It's been absolute dominance for Rubilar, but he's followed by Jesse Stevens, only 17 points back. David Holland in 3rd. Carl Modoff is in 4th. He's on pole for tonight, it looks like. And Kevin Tavares down in 5th place.
Over on the team's side, it's a little bit more spread out at the top. Punto CL Racing Black having a big 46-point lead over Pure Sims Esports, with Delta Sport Falcon only about 8 points behind them in a very close battle with Delta Sport Eagle only 2 points back, and Delta Sport Raptor only 3 points back of them. So a very, very tight battle there for 3rd and 2nd.
Lots of birds on that team. I'm excited for Delta Sport Pigeon myself. But as we look at the race details, round 4 of 10, first 3 rounds were run by Nicholas Rubilar, but we had 3 cars in the last race. We've got 8 in this one, DJ.
We do indeed. The McLaren, the Ford, although I don't see any of those Fords out here today, but there are Audis, Porsches, Beamers, McLarens, and Lamborghinis galore. So it's going to be a good mix of cars. It's a 40-minute open setup race, but there is a fuel limit, so drivers will have to come in through the pits. And now this is always important. They have raised the incident limit, but it is still only 13 incidents that gets you a drive-through and 17 that gets you disqualified, so something the drivers can have to watch out for. But there are bonus points as well for fastest lap, for pole, and for 4 incidents or less.
Clock on qualifying is ticking down. So we take a look at the Senna Straight. Every corner on this track is named with names like Senna, Brundle, Wilson, and I'm sure quite a few others that we'll get into when the race goes on. But on pole, like I said, Carl Modoff, the only driver in the 144s in qualifying, followed by Nicholas Rubilar, looking to make it 4 in a row. Then Kevin Tavares in 3rd place alongside Jean-Francois Godin in 4th place. Connor Wagner and our championship runner-up at the moment, Jesse T. Stevens in 6th. Then it's Horacio Calkeen down in 7th, followed by Owen Watts in 8th. On the last row, it is Ethan Lampy and Dave Menino in 10th.
In 11th place, it is going to be J.R. Williams, followed by Alessandro DiTullio with Lewis Goodway behind him. Chris Ferragano is going to be 14th, followed by James David and David Holland. Connor Bell will be lining up in that 17th position, followed by Felipe Riquelme, Arnaud Genet, and Christian Raditz rounding out your top 20.
And the rest of the grid, Good old Teddy Lowendick down in 21st alongside Tony Costello, who is 22nd. Ignacio Rodrigo Fredes, Julio Palacio round out row 12. Kyle Strikecars, Christopher Rines on row 13, and Philip Magnon and Pedro Berger were your last drivers to set a time. And in 29th, Daniel Ferguson did not partake in qualifying, but I believe he will be on the grid with us for the race today.
Well, and Joey, it should be a good race here. A couple of good overtaking opportunities, and touring cars like this, very used to this track. Now, these GT3s have a little bit more oomph than what we're used to seeing in some of the British touring cars, but with an 82-degree track temperature, tires are going to get up to temperature pretty quickly, and it should spice up a race real well.
And we've seen drivers get aggressive for the entirety of the start of this season, and with some overtaking opportunities maybe coming at a premium. We'll see if anybody comes to blows early on, but it's a short pace lap here at Snetterton. They're only going to get about 1 or 2 corners to warm up the tires as we round through this 90-degree final corner. The field, led by Carl Modoff and Nicolas Rubilar, will lead the field to green. The pace car pulls off into the little pit lane chicane, and we are green at Snetterton. It's a great start by our pole sitter, Modoff. He's bringing Tavares right behind him. Rubilar on the outside front row didn't get the best start, and he's going to be on the outside into turn 1. That was a big send into turn 1 by Connor Wagner. I thought he was going into the back of Rubilar, but everybody keeps it rolling at the moment, it looks like.
Oh, but there comes the action going in. I think that's Lewis Goodway getting spun around. Couple of cars out. A big kerfluffle down into Montreal.
Bad news for Lewis Goodway, but back up to the leader. Everybody up front got away pretty well. Carl Modoff, our pole sitter, still leading the way over Kevin Tavares. These two trying to pull away from Nicolas Rubilar. They know he's a threat. They know he's a 3-time winner, and they want to extend that gap up front as quickly as they can.
Yeah, they certainly do, but they're not doing the best job of it, trying to hold on as much as they can right now. Following our leaders here, Modoff and Tavares, as they work their way around. Everybody's still here pretty close. A lot of dirt getting kicked up as these drivers are trying to push these cars as hard as they can on this opening lap.
Everybody just trying to get as much as they can on the first lap. We saw through that first hairpin through Wilson. Everybody going side by side, trying to get as much ground as they can early on. Get the upper hand, because passing, it's a little bit of a narrower track than some others that we've raced at so far this season. So it looks like track position might be important as we keep going through this race.
Yeah, I think it will. You know, we didn't really get to talk a whole lot about those overtaking opportunities. Really, the best one that I can see happening is, frankly, coming down the Bentley Straight, maybe into the kink of Brundle and into Nelson. You can also see some aggressive moves going down into Montreal as well. But cars starting to spread out here a little bit more. I think this is going to be a big race of just incident mitigation, making sure you don't get those tires off into the dirty stuff.
We go to a replay on Lewis Goodway. He was the biggest loser on lap 1, unfortunately. A lot of cars and not much space, and Goodway in that white BMW you see on your screen now. Not entirely sure what happened to him, but let's see.
Well, I think there was a bit of a checkup in front of him. So this is going through that first corner. There you see the checkup happening. Now he falls back a little bit. Yeah, there's a kerfluffle up front as about 8 drivers try to go through, and he just got punted in the back. I believe that may have been Rines potentially that hit him. I'm not entirely sure.
I think Rines got hit into the back of him. He was the pool ball in that Gauss gun, and he just got slammed into the back of Goodway. Fortunately, them two to the back of the grid. I think Goodway's getting a tow to the pits right now. Holland's still running, Rines still running, but unfortunate situation for a couple drivers on lap 1. But other than that, remarkably clean.
Oh, and we've got a bit of a scuffle here between Lampy and Watts, and that's going to send the 47 spinning around. I believe that is Ferragamo. A big kerfluffle there. They were too wide going up through Brundle and Nelson, and there was no way that they were both going to be able to make it through. And the biggest loser of that was the 41.
Go to a replay for Chris Faragonio. It's hard to keep two cars side by side through that section of the track. Through the kink. No, they weren't even side by side. It was just a little bit of a tap to the back, and that sent Chris into the grass or onto one of the other layouts of the track, it looks like.
Indeed, and that was a little bit of my mistake there, but we've got another good battle shaping up. This is Stevens and Wagner. They've been side by side for about 3 or 4 corners, and behind them, Cal Quinn and Godin also looking a little bit scrappy. Ooh, this is getting fun. That's a very wide run there for the 51 of Connor Wagner.
They don't want to leave the side of each other. They're going side by side again. Will Wagner fall behind? Yes, he does. Stevens finally able to clear him. And then Wagner will fall behind. Godin and Kalkeen are going to be looking to capitalize. Wagner's on the back foot right now, and if they want to make the pass, this is their chance, I think.
It is, and we've seen Godin be a little bit aggressive at different points during this season. Very much a plucky driver there, always trying to stay into it. Now they're 1, 2, 3 as they work their way down the Bentley straight here, lining up. Ooh, is that Godin maybe thinking about trying to have a move over? Instead, that's going to be Connor Wagner trying to have a move on Jesse Stevens. They're going to be side by side. Stevens is not going to let him through. Big bump at the curb, though. That could give Wagner a little bit of an overlap, and indeed, now they go down into bomb hole. That's going to be Wagner with the preferred line, but he's going to lose out, and I think Godin now is going to try for the move as they make their way through Corum.
Wagner 2 wheels on the grass on the inside. It was going to be tough to make that one work with the over-under. Didn't quite work out, but he had a great run in the draft. These GT3 cars looking like the draft may actually be pretty helpful on some of these long straights here.
Yeah, and we've seen that out of these GT3s before. There's just enough downforce on the cars to make things a wee bit interesting. Continue to follow this battle here, though. P4. Ooh, looks like Stevens didn't get the best run coming out of Riches, but that's not going to slow anybody down. They're going to be single file coming through Montreal.
And the Montreal Hairpin, of course, renamed in 2015 to Wilson after the great IndyCar driver Justin Wilson. He joins the pantheon of other notable drivers who have corners named after them on this track. Senna, Brundle, Hamilton, I believe, has a corner now too, so lots of big names, and lots of big names in this series too, trying to make their own name. Stevens still holding off this train, but he definitely seems like he might be the slowest one of these 4 at the moment.
Yeah, it certainly does seem like a little bit like a cork in the bottle there, but Godin looking pretty aggressive there, coming up behind of Connor Wagner, trying to push a little bit as they work their way around these twisty corners. Now on to the Bentley straight. Let's see if that draft can have any effect for any of these guys.
It's a little bit of a draft train, it looks like. Wagner not as close as he was on the last lap to try a switchback here. Gonna have to stay in line. Godin took a little bit of a bite out of the grass. That gave him a slower run on exit. They're just gonna have to wait single file right now, and we'll see if Wagner can do anything in the draft coming out of the last corner down the front straight.
Gonna try to. Looks like he's got a little bit of a better corner exit there. That may be a little bit of a help on Stevens coming down this main straightaway. He certainly looks like he's gonna be aggressive. Gonna try to make the move to the outside of Riches. They're gonna be close, but Stevens better on the binders. Can Wagner maybe go for a little bit of an over-under? No, but that checkup certainly trying to help. Here comes Wagner again. Is he gonna make a move down into Wilson? No, they're gonna be single file.
Alessandro Di Tullio, we're going to go to a replay. He got by Horacio Calquin for 7th place, so clearly somebody found a way to make an overtake. Looks like he got in the draft through the front straight and going into turn 1. Did he go to the inside or the outside? He went to the inside, and easy as it can be. Alessandro Di Tullio up to 7th.
Yeah, and that's very similar, that corner, Rich, is very similar to the first corner of Hockenheim that we've seen a lot of times here on GSRC. So for anybody unfamiliar with Snetterton, that is a good comparative corner to think about.
Unfortunately, we've lost Pedro Berger. He has run into some internet troubles. He was running it back, and that will end his race or end his chances at making up some spots early, unfortunately, but hopefully he rejoins us once he gets that back together. But this train is continuing. This This is DeTulio leading Kalkeen, but Kalkeen wants that position back. Maybe he'll go for the same move that DeTulio did to him down the front straight in the draft.
Maybe kicking up a little bit of dirt there on corner exit. Nothing doing, though. I think Kalkeen's going to be a little bit too far back to try to make that move on DeTulio at this point in time.
See the effect of the draft down the straight. It's a little bit too far back. Maybe it's a difference in straight line speed between the BMW and the Porsche. We might be seeing that on display. Here's these two getting close. Ethan Lampy and Owen Watts. They've been glued together in the Porsche and the Lamborghini in 9th and 10th, but Lampy not able to make the pass yet.
But who did have a pass was Connor Wagner getting around Stevens going into Wilson corner. Stevens looked like he got very, very squirrely on the binders. Let's check out the replay of this. So this is going down into the main straightaway. There's that first corner that we talked about. There you see a little bit of a bad run there for Stevens. Got a little bit wide, got his left tires into the grass. Oh, he was trying to brake while he was on the grass, and that's what sent him around. Godin even making a little bit of contact with him there.
Godin tried to take advantage of the slow car of Stevens, but just there was not enough room, and the angle wasn't quite right for the Exceed SimRacing driver to make it through. You can see, oh, he almost loses the rear. He gets it caught, but yeah, nowhere to go for Godin. Not enough room.
No, absolutely none at all for Godin, but these three are still absolutely glued together. Jesse Stevens trying to make up for that mistake. Big chunk of curb there coming over Nelson for Connor Wagner.
You would think there were 2 minutes left in the race and not 29 minutes, but these guys want to take every chance they can. It's the fight for fourth. Nicholas Rubilar ahead of this little pack, 5 seconds up the road, and a further 3 seconds ahead of him are our two leaders. So if you want to start making progress, you're going to need to get out of this train as fast as you can. And Horacio Kalkeen, the first driver to pit, that's interesting. With 30 minutes to go, 29 minutes to go, is this a strategy move or is he getting damage fixed? I don't think he had any damage, but this is a little bit earlier than I may have expected.
No, it's him and Ferguson, and they are both coming to rest in the box. So that is not a drive-through penalty for either of them. That may just be a strategy call.
It might just be, I guess, using the fuel tank for as long as it'll go, but it's a little bit of a strange way to do it. We're used to seeing these drivers go as long as they can on the first stint, but Kalkeen seems to be extending the second stint, so we'll see if it works out for him. Maybe he's trying to get a little bit of clean track at the back of the field.
That's actually exactly what I think he's trying to do here, Joey, is he just wants to be able to come out in some relatively clear air and run some laps free of traffic the best he can. We're focusing up here, though, on this battle for P1 as Tavares not letting Modoff out of his sights.
Yeah, these two have been stuck together for the first entirety of the race, pretty much. After that start on the outside really helped Tavares get up into second. He hasn't really looked comfortable making the move yet. Oh, and he takes a huge bite out of the grass there, helps them out with their lawn mowing efforts. That's going to slow him down a little bit, but he's clearly pushing as hard as he can here in that Porsche, trying to catch up to Modoff.
Yeah, and these drivers have to be very thankful that they are not currently racing at Barber Motorsports Park. Otherwise, that running off may cost them a pretty penny. But as you can see here, Tavares still just trying to keep that behind. That is Nicholas Rubilar there in the Lamborghini, just slowly but surely stalking behind.
Yeah, Rubilar, the winner of the first 3 races of the season. We saw one streak, unfortunately, get ended today. Robbie Campbell in the GT4s couldn't make it 4 for 4. But Rubilar wants to be the one who can do that. He doesn't seem to quite have the pace for the 2 leaders at the moment, but there's a lot of racing to go, and there is a pit stop to make, which could change everything.
Indeed it could. We're going to jump back here to this battle that we've been kind of keeping our eye on, just shifting slightly. This is Godin and DeTulio as Stevens and Wagner have separated themselves out a little bit. DeTulio starting to push some pressure to that fluorescent yellow machine of Jean-Francois Godin.
These guys were glued together in a pack of about 4 or 5 or 6 cars. They've stretched out a little bit this time out. But DeTulio in the draft is going to try and make a move, I think. But he's not close enough at the moment, but you can see those headlights of that Porsche. They are getting bigger. The draft is certainly doing something. He's not going to be close enough to try and make a move this time.
No, he's not, but he knows the twisty confines of Snetterton. He's just got to kind of hold on there as long as he can. Look like up ahead of him, Connor Wagner may have made a little bit of a mistake, running just a hair wide, as it were. Godin starting to pull out a little bit from DeTulio.
Yeah, Godin trying to catch Wagner and Stevens. He was right on the tail of them a couple laps ago, but they've dropped him a little bit. 25 minutes to go. We're only 15 minutes into the race or so I don't think the tires will really be going off yet, but I wonder if some drivers have taken better care of their tires this early on.
They very well could be, as looks like Watts was able to move his way up past Dave Menino there in that McLaren, so move Owen Watts up into 9th place.
Watts, Menino, and I want to call him Dr. Ethan Lampy. It sounds like a very professional name. Dr. Ethan Lampy leading this train, and I think that's P11. That's Williams. J.R. Williams, he's been hanging out in 11th for basically the entirety of the race, and right behind Williams, I'd like to shout out Ted Lowendick, started 21st. He's up to 12th already.
Is indeed. Teddy always a favorite of the channel, so good to see him rising up through the order as well. Although I have to say here, watching this with Watts getting past Menino, it does look like Menino's going away quite quietly. J.R. Williams right on his tail as well. Yet another big train here just continuing to form. Every time you think somebody's going to break away, they just manage to hold on tighter.
The passing zones are at a premium, it seems, so far in this race, and now we see the Lamborghini and the McLaren going at it. Which one has the advantage through the last couple corners? As we navigate through the final corner, on to the front straight. Final corner is Murray's. Let's see if the McLaren has any straight line speed advantage here. It's basically the longest straight on the track, so if you're going to use your straight line speed advantage anywhere, it'll be there. But unfortunately, it doesn't look like there is much of one.
No, it certainly does not. Not looking like it's going to play out. And in fact, it looks like Williams back there in that Porsche may have had a little bit of a better run, but breaking down into that first braking zone, everybody drawing a little bit closer.
J.R. Williams can see the whole train from his perspective here. He might just be waiting for a little bit of side-by-side action to sneak his way to the inside or the outside, but unfortunately, it's not coming just yet. It's a tantalizingly close gap. It's only about 4/10 to Menino ahead of him, but this is the GT3 Pro Series, so you're not going to be seeing many mistakes from these guys, and there's not going to be many opportunities that just get handed to you on a silver platter.
No, there are not. These are some of the best GT drivers in the world as we continue to follow here with J.R. Williams, seeing one of my favorite things to see on the sim, which is the flames spitting out of the back of that McLaren. It's such a great sight.
Listening to the sounds of the McLaren, you're talking about the flames spitting out the back. That's one great thing about the McLaren, but I'd say every one of these GT3 cars has a great sound. Godin just took a big old bite out of the grass and the curb. He's going to lose 5th or 6th place to DeTulio again. DeTulio's back by Godin, and through turn 1, will he be able to re-attack him? Not yet, but like I said, one mistake will open the door. These guys don't make mistakes often, but unfortunately Godin made one, and that lost him the place to DeTulio.
Indeed, there you see Godin just running wide there, and that allowed for DeTulio to finally slip by. Now, that's a lot of what you've got to be trying to do here is just pushing the envelope on the drivers ahead of you, seeing if you can force them into a mistake.
Godin now is definitely pushing DeTulio. He was in that position legitimately, and he wants it back because he was all over the back of DeTulio through the rest of the lap here. DeTulio himself just put a couple tires on the sod on the outside, didn't lose any time from it, but he's certainly being aggressive, trying to hold off DeTulio here. That's a lot of dust in the air, dust in the wind. We're not in Kansas, but these drivers are kicking up a dust bowl here, giving it everything they've got.
They most certainly are. Godin trying to get that place back if he can, holding it down close. We've seen just a millimeter of a mistake here around Snetterton that can really cause a problem.
I'm glad they put those big white boards up with the corner names on them, because there are so many named corners here. It's hard to remember them all. We went through Curran Corner there, and now we go through Murray's Corner. This is the Snetterton 300 layout. It's not called that because there's 300 names of the corners. There's the 300 layout, the 200 layout, and the 100 layout. This one's the longest. This is where you'll see your British touring cars and all your professional series, and of course the PRL GT3 Pro Series.
Exactly. And as you said earlier, Joey, it's not one of the ones that's used a lot on the sim, but it is certainly one of my personal favorites to watch. It's a great, great track. Always provides a lot of challenges for these drivers. There you see Godin running a little bit wide again.
Godin's giving it everything he's got. Oh, he goes very, very deep there, and that's going to lose him a bit of time there. He's going to have to readjust through Hamilton. Of course, named after Lewis Hamilton. Who else would it be named after? He's just got to readjust. He's made 2 mistakes now. I wonder if maybe he's starting to feel a little bit of tire life go off. Maybe he's used up a bit of fuel and the car's getting lighter. But either way, he seems to be struggling a little bit, and we're going to have to think about pit stops soon, I think. Kalkin's made his stop. Ferguson's made his stop. Nobody else has.
Yeah, it's just those guys in the back that have made those stops. I would be suspecting drivers to start thinking about coming in here soon, but it's all going to be about judging where they're going to come out in traffic. That's going to be the biggest thing. If you get stuck behind a slower car, that is really, really going to damage your race.
And Horacio Kalkin, who did pit to stay out of traffic, unfortunately came out in all the traffic, as Godin has gone off again at the last corner. And now Ethan Lampy, Dr. Lampy around the outside through Riches. Will he be able to sweep it around the outside, or will the inside work for Godin? No. Godin not able to hold it, and Lampy clear, but Godin's going to send it down the inside of Wilson. Last time he was on the inside here, he couldn't get the run, and it happened again. He's still just barely alongside, and no. Ethan Lampy is clear of DeTulio, who's been falling down the order with every lap.
Yeah, he certainly has. Good battling there, just showing you how you've got to make it get done around here at Snetterton. You have to have absolute conviction to make any of this work.
A replay of what happened to DeTulio. Here he is through the last corner, just again goes too wide over the sod into the dust, and Ethan Lampy capitalizes to the outside. He gets a good run, and then through turn 1 at Riches, he's just able to get a better run. Squeezes Godin to the inside in Wilson, and easy as it can be.
Easy peasy as it can be around there, but there you see Godin trying to fight back, going up through Wilson. Little bit of a bang and a bump in there, but they're going to make it through okay, and Godin, I think, smartly backs off a little bit.
Yeah, he might have been able to lean on Lampy a little bit more, but I don't think he thought that was necessary. He was going to lose the position either way. Now Lampy just trying to streak away. Karl Modoff sets the fastest lap of the race, 25 minutes into the race. That is a telltale sign that he's not unhappy with his tires or anything about that car. He hasn't made a stop yet, and he's still pulled out 2.7 seconds over his partial teammate, Kevin Tavares.
Yeah, and compared to the gaps we're seeing in the most of the field, that is pretty darn massive, I have to say. So a good job here for Modoff, keeping everything together.
Here's the lap comparison. Karl Modhoff, it's not the biggest difference in the world on lap 9, but then on lap 13, you see it just slowly get bigger and bigger and bigger. Whatever Tavares is doing is not working, and whatever Modhoff is doing is absolutely working, as that gap is expanding with every lap. Although, if you're looking at the ticker right now, Tavares has turned it up a little bit more. He's 2.5 seconds back now. We saw it in the 2.4s for a moment. Maybe he's seeing Nicholas Rubilar in the mirror, and he's turning up the wick a little bit.
Indeed, he is just trying to see what he can do here. Maybe see if he can put a little bit of pressure on Modhoff. Remember, these tires largely heat sensitive. They're not going to wear as much as you think they are, but if you get them too hot, they'll have a real problem. So maybe that was what Tavares was doing, just trying to cool him down a little bit.
Looks a little bit lonely for him, unfortunately. A little bit lonely for Karl Modhoff, definitely as the leader, but I don't think he's too unhappy about that. He shouldn't be running into any lap traffic anytime soon, and he does still have to make his pit stop. 15 minutes to go. We'll see how long he can actually take this fuel tank. I don't think anybody's going to make it to the end. I don't think that's possible. So he is going to have to stop, but it's a question of when will he stop, and will anyone be able to capitalize on a bit of strategy?
We'll have to see when that strategy comes in as we tick down under 15 minutes to go here. I have to think that this is going to be a little bit close to that fuel window.
Back in the battle for P9, this is not stopped. J.R. Williams, Dave Menino, and Owen Watts still as stuck together as they've ever been. And now they're catching Godin. Godin has still been struggling. I think he's pushing very hard. It isn't really working for him because he's falling back, and soon enough he's going to be in the clutches of Owen Watts and the rest of this train.
Yeah, he will. Godin just seems like he's a bit falling down the order here. Obviously down 4 positions from his initial starting spot. Not the best for him, but we'll have to see if he's got anything left in that tank. We've seen the charts that Watts is able to put on here. I gotta think that he's gonna have something to say about it before this race is over.
Goes for a little bit of a defensive line. I don't know if that was intentional into the hair, or not the hairpin here. That's through Brundle. Just moving to the center of the straight a little bit before getting into the braking zone. Menino and Williams not close enough to think about a move just yet, but 13.5 minutes to go. Still looking like no signs of anybody stopping yet. I think they might just be trying to extend this for as long as possible. Back in P12, it is fan favorite, commentator favorite, Ted Lowendick. Here he is. He's holding off Arnaud Genet now, but he's had a great run so far. And I'll tell you what, Genet's had a great run too. 19th to 13th behind them, and he pits. Yep.
All right, so that's Genet, one of the first of the guys in this sort of ending portion of the race to come into the pits, able to find his box nice and easy. Let's see where he slots out into traffic. It looks like I'm seeing Ferragamo coming in as well behind him.
Trouble-free for him. We'll see how he comes out compared to Kalkin, who is currently navigating through turn 1. So yeah, Kalkin way ahead of Genet already to the tune of about 5.5 seconds. Now the battle right here on your screen, this is the battle for 5th. DeTulio on the attack against Jesse Stevens through Williams. Not close enough to go for a move yet, but he's going to be in the draft. This is the second longest straight on the track into Brundle. Goes to a little bit of the outside. Maybe thinks about a peek to the inside to get Stevens offline. Stevens takes a huge bite out of the curb, but DeTulio just has to stay in line through this twisty section of the track for the moment.
Well, and remember how twitchy Stevens has been on the brakes in that BMW. It's not looked exactly like the most stable car, and I think I would have to imagine that behind him, DeTulio knows that, and he is going to be trying to mess with it, and here comes Stevens into the pits. Finally thought it was time, but for seemingly everybody else, it still isn't time.
Felipe Riquelme has taken a journey off into the grass. I don't think he hit the wall. Did not see what caused him to go out there, but that was a huge moment for Felipe in the 444. See a replay here. It looks like he just got a little bit loose on the curb, and no saving that.
No, none at all. Let's check out that replay. Yep, just a little bit too much of the curb. Does catch a little bit of that outside retaining wall, but looks like he's able to save off most of the big damage.
Little bit of rally cross, but no harm, no foul, as here he comes to probably minimize his time lost, get the pit stop out of the way, and maybe fix a little bit of damage that may have come from that wall tap. The Punto CL Racing driver Riquelme, he is out of the pits. It was only a 7.3 second stop, so a short stop for him, and I guess he didn't get any damage fixed after all.
I guess he did not. We follow here our leader, Karl Modolf, in that Delta Sport Raptor machine as he makes his way around the circuit. Let's see if he's going to come in and take a bite at the apple to come into the pits as we get close to under 10 minutes to go.
Here he comes. Time is up in terms of the amount of time you can wait to pit, and behind him, here comes Tavares and Rubilar. So Modolf has to be careful. He has a 2.7 second gap, which is pretty sizable, but one mistake in the pits will lose him a ton of time. But he's nice and gentle into the pit stall. A good stop for him. Nobody's going to be taking tires, but it's going to be a question of how much fuel do people take. Do you take the absolute maximum to be safe, or do you try and take a little bit less to maybe minimize your time in the pits? But I think they all took exactly the same amount. Karl Modolf, 8.5. Kevin Tavares, 8.6. Nicholas Rubilar, 8.4. I don't think anybody gained anything there.
No, I think everybody's relatively coming out the exact same way. Looks like this is the exact end of the fuel window. We see Jesse Stevens as he starts to make his way past some cars. Where is that going to slot Stevens out? Looks like 7th place right behind Alessandro DiTullio.
I thought he might have the inside there. Yes, he's going to try the inside, but no. DiTullio blocks that off. He wasn't going to let that move happen easily, and Stevens stays back in 7th. And I tell you what, one driver hasn't pitted yet. Ignacio Rodriguez Fredes in 4th place. He's the only driver who hasn't pitted yet. He's extended this as long as humanly possible. I don't know how much it's going to help him. Is he out of fuel? He looked very slow out of the corner. I don't think he's out of fuel, but he will be soon. He needs to bring that thing into the pits.
Yeah, he very much does. We've seen Fredes do some of these strategies there before, but definitely needs to come in. I'm very surprised he was able to make this all the way to lap 19.
P2's getting close. Tavares and Rubilar, they've been close for the last couple laps, and Rubilar really wants to get 2nd place here from Tavares and maybe get a chance to chase down Modolf. Right now it looks unlikely, but through the last corner, onto the front straight, a good run from Tavares. No dirt, no sod on those tires. But Rubilar in the draft. The gap's about 4 tenths right now. We're seeing if there's anything Rubilar can do in the draft, in the Lamborghini, compared to the Porsche. Doesn't look like there's anything. Through Riches. Maybe on the brakes into Wilson. Rubilar super late, but not close enough to think about anything close to a move just yet.
No, not quite yet, but he is definitely thinking about it here. This is a battle between Porsche and Lamborghini. Lamborghini, one of the newer models to be put on. Little bit of a wide run there for Rubilar. Doesn't look like it cost him that much time.
Ignacio Fredes had a very fast pit stop. We don't even know if he stopped because he's down in 13th place. The pit delta about 26 seconds, so I think he did stop. Oh, there's a big off for David Holland. That's one car that's not going to be in the fight. And up front again, that's 2 cars hitting the wall in 2 corners. I'm not sure who that is in the orange car, but let's see a replay of what happened to Holland.
All right, so we're following David Holland here around. He comes in through that first corner. Whoa, that almost looks like an equipment failure, the way that car just snapped away from him.
And then further back, Strikecars on the inside just takes a ride on the curb, a very bumpy ride, and then slams the inside wall. It's unfortunate for both of them. Strikecars, it's not race-ending damage, but it's going to be race unenjoying damage. Here's the 96 of Fredes back in the pits. I don't think he took the amount of fuel he had to tow. I thought he stopped, but we're hearing that he towed, and there goes Tavares. Everything's popping off in the last 6 minutes of the race. Kevin Tavares just sends it off the track at the Wilson hairpin. What happened there?
Well, let's watch it here. This is coming down that main straightaway, getting ready to go into Riches right now. This is, of course, Rubilar chasing behind him. Everything looks like it's okay and nice and easily put together there. Runs wide, close to the grass there. Oh, he had the same problem we saw earlier. He tried to get on the binders while those left side tires were on the green stuff.
Unfortunately, he could not keep it on the track like Jesse Stevens did. Let's ride on board with him. The camera on the top of that car. This is Rubilar's car, and you can see, yep, that's not gonna work. Not enough grip on the grass for that to work.
Yep, you get those tires off onto the grass, and it certainly sends you off.
And it's in England, so it's probably been rained on. All sorts of bad stuff over there. One driver I'd like to give some commiserations to is Ethan Lampy. He's been fighting in the top 10 all day, and unfortunately, I think he may have got a pit speeding penalty because he spent a whole minute in the pits. He's fallen down to 19th place. So a great race for Lampy. He's now chasing down Felipe Riquelme, who we saw in the grass a little bit earlier, for 18th place instead of the 8th place he was fighting for a little bit earlier.
Well, that's going to be a little bit disappointing for him. He was having a good race earlier and now just trying to fight his way back up with only 4 minutes to go here in the race.
Unfortunately, we've lost Kyle Strikecars from the race after that nose into the wall. He didn't think it was worth bringing that thing to the finish. But up front, Karl Modov has a 4.7 second lead over our new second place runner, Nicholas Rubilar. With only 3 minutes 40 left in the race, that's only going to be about 3 laps. Rubilar has not shown that he has enough of a pace advantage to close that gap. But you never know. It's not over till it's over. Here's Ted Lowendick down in 14th alongside Christian Raditz. Those wheels were inside each other for a moment there, I think. And Arnaud Genet wants to play in the party as well. Raditz is going to have the outside here. Through Brundle. And it doesn't work out. Lowendick hangs on. Well done.
Oh, but Genet looking a little bit feisty there behind, trying to take a run at Raditz. Is he going to be brave enough onto the brakes? Oh, he's going to spin!
He gets dumped through Agostini. It's unfortunate for them, but they haven't lost much. They both recovered it remarkably well. We'll see the replay there. Genet into the back of Raditz at Agostini. Maybe just through. That's actually Palmer, not Brundle. And then down into the hairpin. He thinks about the inside and bonk.
Yeah, there's the contact, and there's the sportsmanship, I have to say, there from Arnaud Genet. He knew he made that contact, and he let Raditz continue on. That is one of the hallmarks of any of these PRL series. It's just absolute sportsmanship between all drivers.
And of course, Arnaud Genet is the lead driver steward, so he especially has some reasons to play sportsmanlike there. But he'll have another bite at the apple. He definitely has pace on Raditz down in 15th, so we'll see if they get back to fighting again. There's only 2 minutes left in this race, so if these drivers are going to make their move, they're going to need to make it pretty quickly. Here's a train that's seemingly been running for the entirety of the race. DeTulio, Watts, Williams, Menino, Ferguson, and even Carl Keane down in 12th. His alternative pit strategy doesn't seem to have worked pretty well. He's lost 5 spots since the start of this race. And talking about big movers, Daniel Ferguson didn't qualify. He started 29th. He's 11th. That's plus 18 spots.
It's a really good run there for Ferguson, and really the only Audi out on track. We saw him have a great race last time out, being able to use that very nimble and bitey Audi, and he's doing it again here. He'll be very happy to pick up an 11, but I gotta think he's gonna have his eyes set ahead on Menino to hopefully see if he can maybe pick up a top 10.
Up front, here's Karl Modoff through the last corner. For the second to last time, he's going to take the white flag down the Senna straight here. He's got no drivers anywhere near him. The closest driver behind is Rubilar, 5 seconds back. The closest driver ahead is Christopher Rines, who is about halfway ahead of the track, a lap down. So Modoff just got to keep it in your line, take it easy, and don't take any bites out of the grass. Don't end up in the wall, and you'll be home free.
A little bit more easier said than done here around Snetterton, but I think if anybody can pull it off at this point, it is Karl Modoff. He has drove an absolutely spectacular race, making his way through Augustini right now.
He's just taking a tour of Snetterton, it seems. Gets to look at all the names of the corners. Hamilton, Lewis Hamilton, Augie's. Couldn't tell you what that's named after, but Williams, of course, Sir Frank Williams, down the Bentley straight. And then we're going to get to Brundle after Martin, one of the few living drivers who has a corner named after him. I think it's just him and Palmer, Jonathan Palmer, named a corner at his own track after himself, and Nelson Piquet as well. But through Brundle, there it is. Then Nelson, if it is Nelson Piquet. And only a few more corners to go. Bomb hole, Karam, and he'll round that easily to the last corner. Murray's after Murray Walker. And I'm not going to do my best Murray Walker impression coming to the line here, but Karl Modoff might have a lump in his throat because the three-way streak is over, and Karl Modoff wins at Snetterton.
A great run there, but we're going to jump back and check out this battle for P5. This is Godin trying to chase down Stevens if he can. Looking like Stevens may have this if he can just make his way through these final few corners here. Working it around here, but Godin definitely starting to challenge.
I think he'll have too little track, unfortunately. Jesse Stevens, a troubled race, a couple sketchy moments, but he brings it home in 5th place. Well done by him. Godin in 6th. DeTulio, Watts, Williams, and Menino round out the top 10.
Very impressive drive from all of these drivers out on course to be able to keep all 4 tires on the road. Very surprised at the minimal lack of attrition we had out here tonight.
Yep, only a couple drivers out of the race, but I think the top 3 are going to be the happiest drivers of them all, and we'll get to talk to them in just a couple minutes, so don't go anywhere. We'll be right back to talk to our top 3.
Hey there, I'm Nicholas Dubois, co-founder of Advanced SimRacing. We are a Canadian company So what we did here today is for a real petrol head. He's really passionate about cars, as you can see behind me. We did a turnkey solution for him based on his needs. We try to gather as much information as we can on our client, and like we did today, we install a D-box system, we install ultra-wide cube control steering wheel. We try to provide the best quality for your budget. So let's say if you want a budget of 10 grand, we're gonna give you something that's the best for 10 grand. If you want 20 grand, then we always try to stay within your boundaries. We do try to make it as easy as possible. So the client, once we install everything, it's pretty much gonna be a turnkey. So he's gonna press start on his computer, and right after we'll try to explain everything, how it goes, how it works, and then he's ready to go. Our aluminum is from USA, treated in Canada, cut in Canada. So we do sand all our aluminum piece just to make sure the powder coat sticks to it. And that's one of the reasons why we use powder coat, is to make sure you have the best aluminum finish in the industry. And our quality is beyond what you can get with any other competitors right now. We are really, really passionate about all the gear, all the cockpits, all the sim hardware, and that's why we want to create something that's really gonna reflect our passion into our product. Come visit us at advancedsimracing.com. You can always reach us if you have any questions. You can call us, you can text us, you can go on Facebook, like our page, ask us questions over there, and we'll make sure to answer every questions there is. We are very passionate about what we do, and we try to make it as easier for you to go into the sim racing world, because there's a lot of gear, there's a lot of options, but let us guide you through your process, and let's hope you'll be an Advanced Sim Racing customer.
The night of GT racing has come to a close with the PRL GT3 Pro Series at Snetterton. It was Karl Modoff, dominant win from pole to the win, 5 seconds ahead of Nicholas Rubelar, who will have to be very, very unhappy with first, second, then third, Kevin Tavares. A mistake late in the race, followed by Connor Wagner and Jesse T. Stevens. Jean-Francois Godin in 6th. Alessandro Tullio finished in 7th. Owen Watts was 8th. J.R. Williams and Dave Menino round out the top 10.
Coming home in 11th was the hard charger Daniel Ferguson, followed by Horatio Calquin and another good hard charger, Teddy Lowendick. Christian Raditz came home 14th, followed by Arnaud Genet and Christian Ferragiano in 16th. Julio Palacio was 17th, and Ethan Lampy had a fall down the order into 18th, followed by Philippe Riquelme and Connor Bell.
And the used car lot back after 20th place. David Holland did bring it home in 21st, and Philippe Magnan, we didn't see much of him in 22nd. Christopher Rhines got lapped late on, and Ignacio Rodriguez Fredis, a little bit of pit troubles down in 24th. Kyle Strikars, strike to the wall. Tony Costello, 26th for the 26th, and James David, Pedro Berger, and Lewis Goodway rounded out the 29 car field for today. But the driver at the top of the 29 car field today, Karl Modoff, it looked like you basically had a race of your own today. You had a gap to second all the time. What was the key to your success today?
Lots of practice. Yeah, me and Kevin both worked. I feel like we did a lot of racing this week, dialing in the setup. And Connor Wagner built us a really nice setup, and we kind of fine-tuned it a little bit and found some extra speed in the Porsche, which handled pretty good around here. So just lots of practice, and then just trying to, ignore the fact that they weren't that far behind me. One small mistake, and, you could lose 3-second lead. So just trying to stay in the moment, lap by lap, and, try not to throw it away. So I'm happy to be able to win and take one of these wins from Nicholas, who's been driving, so hard to beat. Pretty pumped.
Well, you mentioned practice. We were talking about how Snetterton isn't necessarily the most popular track on iRacing. Did you guys have much experience here, and did you have to maybe take a couple extra laps to learn the track more?
Definitely, yeah. I don't know if I'd ever really driven it before. I had already had it, so probably, but I don't really remember it, so it was pretty fresh. And it's a hard track. It's really, any time you get the decelerating braking zones with the change of direction at the end, it's just really technical and hard to kind of get the weight transfer right. So super complicated, but once we started getting into it, it was really fun. It has a really great rhythm, and it's just a really cool old school track. So hopefully we do some more racing there in the future.
Well, after today, I think they'll definitely want to come back here next week for the GT3s. I'm not entirely sure where we're going next week, but I think you've certainly cemented yourself in the championship fight after Nicholas won those first 3 races. Now you're on the board. Are you looking forward to a championship fight this year?
Yeah, I hope I can take it to him. I had to miss a round, but I shouldn't miss any more. So I'm hoping to, at least keep it close to the end and see if we can't pull the championship off. It's great to have such high-level competition. So looking forward to the rest of the season.
And I can confirm that next week is Imola. So that track specifically, it's another one that you don't see all the time, but are you looking forward to that?
Yeah, Imola is an awesome track. I feel like it's great for GT cars and GT3 cars. It's got a kind of similar to this track. It's got a huge variation of corners and really technical sections. So really looking forward to that round. I'm going to be out of town, so not a ton of practice as much as I would probably like. And hopefully Nick doesn't do 30 hours of practice since I beat him this week. But looking forward to it. I usually run pretty strong there. So hopefully we can take 2 in a row next week.
Well, before we let you go, do you have anyone you want to thank for your victory tonight? All the Delta Sport crew and everyone else?
Yes, sir. Yeah, thank you to you guys, all the broadcasters, and then all the organizers and everyone, all of my friends and family that kind of tune in and check me out. I appreciate you. Thank you. And then Delta Sport, our sponsors, Move Up, Freedom USA, Race Factory, United for Kids, Get Stuck, Driven Texas, and Extreme SimRacing. Thanks, guys. See you next week, hopefully.
Yeah, we will see Karl Modoff next week trying to defend his win, and the Delta Sport Racing team will as well. But we do have our second place finisher. He's finished on the podium every race so far this season. DJ is with Nicholas Rubilar.
Well, Nicholas, Snetterton, obviously a pretty tricky track, and looks like he didn't just quite have enough speed for Karl, but a heck of a job out there to come home on the second step of the podium.
Thank you. Yeah, it was actually a really strange track for me because I was not used to drive this one. The car felt great. I had the pace, but really late on the race, and just managed to put pressure on Kevin. That really helped me to get the P2. So I'm really happy with the result.
Well, that was the question that I wanted to ask you there about that was with that battle with Kevin. Was that really a situation of trying to force him into a mistake, or were you actively looking for an overtake?
Well, I actually tried to overtake him on the pit stop, but we went out of the pits really close, and I didn't want to try to do an overtake because all the times that I try something that to overtake ends in a crash, so I preferred not to do that and just try to force him to do a mistake, and it seems like that happened.
Well, there you go. I'd say it worked out well for you. Now we head to Imola next week. Obviously, another sort of classic track, but maybe a little bit more elevation change. How do you think that's going to go for you and your Punto CL Lamborghini?
Well, I think my car will be like it's a track that suits the car, so we'll have to work on the setup to get in tune for the next week.
Well, all right. We wish you the best of luck, Nicholas, and anybody you'd like to thank for this run here today.
Yeah, sure. I'd like to thank everyone that supports me on the social medias, the Punto CL team, my sponsors, Thrustmaster and Next Level Racing, and you guys for holding this event.
Thank you very much. That was your second place finisher, Nicholas Rubilar. And now back to you, Joey.
Well, it was certainly an exciting night of GT racing. We had the GT4s at Chicago, where Dobmeyer came out on top, and of course the GT3s here at Snetterton, where Modoff came out on top. I would say it was an exciting night of racing. Some drama, some mistakes, and some dominant drives from our winners. But as we round out tonight's broadcast, DJ, you have any final thoughts?
Well, I just want to commend the Precision Racing League. You know, they came into this season and made the change here to have the 2 different races on the single night, and every time we've seen them, it has been absolutely spectacular racing up and down the board.
And with that, we will thank our sponsors once more. Can never forget about them. ASR, they design and build the sturdiest and most durable aluminum, or we're in England, I should say, aluminium profile racing simulation cockpits available in the market today. Visit them at advancedsimracing.com. RaceLab, it helps you improve your driving skills. Start using it now for free at RaceLab.app. ButtKicker, feel what you've been missing at TheButtKicker.com. Don't forget the. SimMSA, find out how you can bridge the gap between virtual and real motorsports at SimMSA.net. And NinjaTrader. Visit NinjaTrader.com to get started with a risk-free trading simulator to start tracking your performance. Thanks to the companies that provide the software and hardware for our broadcasts. They're all listed here on your screen. Additional thanks to June Lalonde, who provides our wonderful music. See the screen for how to get a hold of more of her great work. Thanks to the entire team who helped to put on this broadcast today, and thanks to all you viewers for tuning in. If you'd like to find out more about GSRC, including upcoming races, you can find it at globalsimracingchannel.com. Or you can check out our social media through the outlets listed at the bottom of the screen. And if you'd like to support the channel, go check out our merchandise store at simracingmerch.com/GSRC. The link is in the description below. And while you're down there, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel as well, so you don't miss a moment here on GSRC. The next race for the PRL GT Series is at Lime Rock and Imola, July 19th, 8:25 p.m. Eastern, but come back tomorrow at 8:55 p.m. Eastern for more PRL on Snetterton action with the PRL GT3 AM Championship. We also have upcoming races for other series listed on the screen, so check those out and mark them down in your calendar. Well, for DJ Clark, Joe Peak, and Dougie Beard, I'm Joey Tevin. Until next time, race clean, race hard, and we'll see you on the track.